to say it's strained times or anything, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place.
Did you see the story of the guy that got called up?
I saw the video.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Love those stories.
Of course, he didn't get in the game. I guess they said he might play Tuesday.
It's all right. He's getting paid.
Yeah, but it says he got called up to the Twins before and never got a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got called up, got 2 games with the Twins organization, got called up, never saw the field. So,
I mean, man,
you got to hope for the guy to
get a pinch run him something,
right? Hello, Paul.
Got to get him in a box score.
Exactly. This is Field of Dreams all over again. Let him get his wink at the pitcher. Get dusted down. Your Knicks game yesterday was really fun to watch.
Not as much fun as Golden State Sacramento, but
no.
But you know what the Knicks Cavs game looked like? It looked like the NBA that 2 generations of people watched.
Well, there was atmosphere. I mean, it was just unreal atmosphere, just all those things. It was cool.
Did you see the 5-day stretch that the Garden has? Started Friday night, Game 3, Knicks Cavs. Saturday night, Game 3, Rangers Devils. Yesterday afternoon, Game 4, right. Knicks Cavs. Tonight, Game 4, Rangers Devils. Tuesday night, Billy Joel. His monthly gig at the Garden. My wife couldn't believe that. She's like, he plays the Garden? I go, every month.
Every month.
Every month. Morning, everybody. Felipe, good morning. How about your Heat?
Oh, they looked good. They looked like the Heat of last year.
Now if they'll microphone. Yeah, you sound a little muffled there.
Oh, hello.
You sound really muffled.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like bad.
But do I sound low or muffled?
Muffled.
No, muffled. So
there's something wrong with that microphone.
Yeah, it almost sounds like, you know how there's 2 channels? It almost sounds like you're just mono. But I mean, you don't talk much anyway, but I'm just saying you sounded muffled. That's okay. The Heat may win the series and then barely have enough players to continue playing.
Duncan Robinson will finally get more minutes.
Well, Felipe, if you showed up with your jersey, they might have to put you in by the end of the series. I mean, they're like one more night away from calling D. Wade.
You're starting power forward, Udonis.
Yeah. I'm waiting for him to get minutes.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How was your weekend? Hope it went well. You know, this is the final Monday of April. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your weekend? How many youth sports events were you at?
Just one.
Wow.
Just one. It was a slow weekend. We go harder during the week. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at that. 2 days, 3 nights, only one event.
Yeah, it was a very low-key weekend by standards in the Miller house. We only had to travel to downtown. We only had like a 30-minute commute for a softball game.
Oh, well, heck. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Good deal. Losing streak reached 5?
No, we broke the losing streak.
Oh. Well, you know why? The old manager came back. I had to get rid of that interim guy.
Once the interim was gone, things turned around.
Different snacks. What'd you do? What was the superstitious thing you did to break the new softballs? What? A new bat? What?
Our runs counted after the whistle as opposed to not counting after the whistle.
Got to make drastic changes sometimes. Got to make drastic changes. It's good to see. Good to see. Miller and Moulton here on this Monday. Do you know, practically since we last did a show, a home team has not won an NHL playoff game? At least on the weekend. I mean, road teams went 8-0 Saturday and Sunday in the NHL playoffs. I don't know that I've ever seen that.
No, I don't think I have either.
And I mean, threw in 4 overtime games too. And road team won them all. Damn.
Well, in the NFL for the longest time, we didn't know what a catch was. You know what we don't know in the NHL? Is if a whistle blows, the play's dead.
Got that right.
Because 2 games, the exact damn same thing happened. Exact same thing happened. One was not a goal. One was a goal.
And both rulings determine the outcome of the games. It's no big deal or anything. We're just talking the Stanley Cup playoffs. Lord Stanley, he's got a really big trophy. All right. People play their whole lives just to get their names on it. That's all. By the way, you know how much money they make for the playoffs? Like $7.38. No, seriously. They don't get paid for the playoffs in the NHL. They do this literally out of a labor of love. They get meals and travel taken care of, but salary? No, we're good. We're good.
The playoff bonuses aren't worth the pain that they endure.
No. In fact, I don't even think can pay for everyone's injuries. Good thing they have health care. But wild in hockey. How about Steph pulling a Chris Webber yesterday? Uh-oh.
If they blow that, and they damn near did,
it's over.
It's done.
And maybe the dynasty's done, right? But by the sliver of their teeth, the Warriors. I do have a question. Who's the coach? Is it Steve Kerr or Draymond Green? Because I got confused at times. When Draymond was out of the game, he was standing next to Kerr, closer to the edge of the coach's box than Kerr. He was shouting out instructions also. And I got to admit, if I'm Steph, I'm pretty torn. I look over. I got Coach 1A and Coach 1B. Who am I listening to?
Let's just hope the message was similar.
I mean, because Coach 1B, if he doesn't get his way in practice, can just punch you in the mouth. I mean, Kerr has not shown any inclination to do that, although he did fight Jordan once in practice. Or as he said, I had to stand up for myself. And once I started it, I just hung on and waited for the reinforcements to break us up.
That's it. Grab, duck, hold.
Yep. Aren't you guys going to break this up?
Been going on a while now. Could someone get in here?
About 9-10 seconds. How about the Stamkos fight? First fight in NHL playoff history with 2 guys who have each scored 60 or more goals. Man, I love hockey.
and the Toronto coach applauding Stamkos for dirty play, saying they just knew they could get away with anything there. Bad part is they come out down a man.
Well, they were down a man before the fight, though. And that's why the Leafs believe Stamkos was, picking a fight. As they said, well, it's not like they were going to put him 2 men down. So
Right.
Stamkos knew whatever he did, okay, he'd get away with it. What is it that Keith there, the Leafs coach, said afterwards? It was Bush League and brilliant. I'll say this. If you can feel good in a loss, which is very difficult to do. Boy, the Lightning tied it late first period. They were the better team the rest of the night. It's hockey. That can happen. You get a whistle and a bounce, and, the other goalie made some big saves, and, you don't put them away, and then they get a late goal, force overtime. But, Mark, if you're a Lightning fan, you played the last 50 minutes of that game, and quite frankly, I didn't know if you still had that in you. After game 2 and the sluggish start to game 3, I'm like, oh, boy, I don't know. The other guys may just be better. And Tampa Bay said, what are you talking about, better? We just need a little time to warm up here. So game 4, that one tonight.
Season on the line for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You think so?
Oh, they're not coming back from 3-1.
All right. Remember, Toronto's blown 3-1 before.
I know. I understand.
I mean,
It's a little different team.
Okay. All right.
Little different team. They're getting it from the guys that they acquired, showing
Sure.
their playoff moxie. They're showing the rest of that team what it's about in the postseason. Not that the players weren't talented for Toronto, but now they have some guys in here who have been there and done that. And there is a hell of a lot of difference between being there and have done it in the playoffs and thinking about doing it in the postseason.
Well, and not only that, the guys making all that money are actually earning their pay, even though they're not getting paid. You know what I mean? The Marners and the Tavarises and the Austin Matthews and company. Wow. They're actually on the score sheet. How about that? It's a novel concept in the spring to be on the playoff score sheet. Goalie made some big saves at the right time. But game 4 of that series, Lightning down 2-1. It was fun for the Panthers last week. I mean, it really was. Heading into game 3 Friday night. I mean, it was fun. And Boston was without Bergeron. Hell, it turns out for the weekend they were without David Krejci. I mean, they were out their top 2 centers. I mean, come on. If you're the Panthers, got them 1-1. We got them shorthanded. Ha! Are you serious? Nobody plays them tougher than us. We'll at least get a split at home. No.
No.
As a matter of fact, no. No.
Boston's just better.
Yeah. Wow.
Deeper,
Yeah.
better.
Uh-huh. Man, they're good.
Yes, they are.
Damn.
Put them on the power play and look out.
Yeah. I would really advise against that.
We talked about it before the series. Florida had to play as much 5-on-5 as is humanly possible because Boston's special teams are dynamic.
I would just like to send that message out to Tampa Bay and Toronto, whichever one of you gets done by the end of this week with your series and you advance to face the Bruins. I just advise you to stay out of the box. Otherwise, well, start making golf plans. So we got that going on. Do you know every NHL series was 2-1 after 3 games? Every single one. Hey, I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. I don't know if you caught it over the weekend. The Miami Heat are beating the Milwaukee Bucks in a playoff series.
Yes, they are. And at some point, you would think the Milwaukee Bucks would want their best player to play because it looks like they're going to need him now.
You would think that since they tried to play game 3 without him and lost by 22.
Right.
Here could be Milwaukee's saving grace, Mark. They may not have to play Giannis because every time the Heat play, 2 guys get hurt. If Milwaukee could just extend this series long enough, the Heat may not have enough bodies. They may have to call Mourning and Wade just to fill out the bench by the end of this series. Does Tim Hardaway's knees have a couple more games left in them? I mean, Thunder Dan, okay? Do you have one game where you could hit the corner threes? Because Spo may need you.
In fact, they're filing for an injunction to have 18 players on the bench because they'll need all these guys to play a minute or two.
It's gonna. Did you ever play in like you and I both have played in the charity basketball games. You get the media involved, or sometimes you get like the teachers and they're playing and they decide they're going to play basketball. And about 3 minutes into the basketball game, they look at one another. Hey, why don't we play softball next time? That could be what the Heat have coming off the bench by the end of this series. Man. Tahiro's out. Oladipo's now out. Butler got hurt in game 3. He didn't come back. Don't know his status for tonight.
Oh, he's playing.
Well, you would think, but he has to be good. He can't just, he's one of the 2 guys who has to be more than present.
There's no doubt there. There is no doubt there. And he was fantastic in game 3.
Yeah. And all the people talking about moving on from Jimmy Butler. I'm telling you, there's a lot of good teams out there that'd be like, we'll take them. Miller and Moulton. A lot to kick around and a full guest list coming up.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Damn.
Anybody in Southwest Florida yesterday have trouble getting the Rays game?
I didn't.
A couple texts from people who said that on Bally's that they got a replay of Game 3 of Panthers Bruins.
I did not, but I will say DirecTV's Bally's is much better. I get the Bally, I get 40 different versions of whatever it is.
Better than Comcast?
Yeah, because you get the alternate versions. If all the games are on, you get to watch all the games.
Well, like now, granted, I'm in Jacksonville, but I have Comcast and I have two Bally's, 401, 402. And one of them's always Tampa sports and one of them's always Miami sports.
Right. I get like 4 of each. So that if the
Gotcha.
Heat and Panthers are both on Bally's at the same time, I can watch both games.
So when you switch to YouTube TV, you'll probably lose out.
YouTube TV doesn't have Bally's. I got to figure out how I'm going to get Bally's. The odds are I'm going to probably just pilfer for it off my mother's. I have to make sure. If not, I'll just pay for her to upgrade to the sports thing and pay for that myself. Pay her the $10 a month.
Well, Chastain's in a tough spot. When you pit, there goes the win, but he was also second in the points race. So he's trying to, he may need to get into the playoff via the points. As it turns out, he's still second, but Hmm.
10 seconds.
All the buttons on that microphone are the same, huh?
Yeah.
Because that microphone shouldn't be on the. I mean, I don't know if I want to let you do. I'm not being a jerk here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Final Monday of April. Man, what an eventful month it's been. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll get back to the hockey and the hoops in a moment. So we get done with our show Friday. And by lunchtime, man, the NFL had a big announcement. You're getting suspended. You're getting suspended. You're getting suspended. You're getting suspended. I mean, I thought it was Oprah giving away cars. Man. Now, I get the, hey, if you're dumb enough to gamble on the NFL as an NFL player, hello? I mean, just had a wide receiver sit out a whole season for that. You don't know what's coming your way? You really don't think they're tracking you down? You don't think Big Brother's watching, following somehow? Seriously? But did you get a load of the other suspension? Like 2 guys are out for the year.
Right.
But the 3 guys who did not gamble on the NFL.
Right, but gambled from the facility.
Bingo. So they bet whatever, college football, college basketball, NBA, cricket, whatever it was. But it's where they placed the bet. So if you're standing in the team facility underneath the DraftKings sign.
That's right.
Or the whatever official casino.
Locker room.
Right. The official casino of fill in the blank team. If you're standing next to that sign, you cannot place a bet.
That's correct, David.
You need to leave the parking lot.
That's once again correct. You're better off under the DraftKings billboard.
Correct.
94 when you leave the Lions facility.
Correct. That's fine. In fact, you could go to the police
gambling
station.
and driving is okay by
Yes.
their rules. We don't want you texting and driving or gambling and driving, but texting, gambling, and driving, okay. texting gambling from the facility, that's not good.
No. So that's apparently the rule. I mean, doesn't that seem ridiculous? I know it's their league. They can set their own rules. They can do whatever they want. I mean, it's part of what the LIV golfers are fighting with the PGA Tour. PGA Tour has a rule which, on the face of it, looks ridiculous. No. You guys can play on any tour you want, just as long as you get our permission. Oh, we want to play on this tour, this tour, this tour, this tour, and this tour. That's fine. How about this tour? Wait, what?
Now, I know they don't play cards anymore because that's from another generation, but apparently, God forbid, there's a poker game that goes on inside of a locker room because that would technically be illegal.
No. Here's the funny thing. They actually said that in the release. You can play cards on the back of the team playing.
It's gambling.
I know.
In fact, you could actually argue with the money they're playing for that one's illegal.
Mark, I think you'd have a very good case in front of the jury, actually.
The one he did on the phone, betting on the USFL, XFL, or whatever the hell he was betting on, that's legal.
Right. You know, it's stupid. You know, I mean, betting on the XFL and the USFL, I mean, that's just stupid. But get our point. 6 weeks, by the way. It's a 6-game suspension. So let me get this straight. Is the bet illegal? No, you can bet on college basketball. It's where you place the bet. Excuse me? Was that like on the altar in a church? What?
Oh, that would be perfectly legal on the altar in a church.
Well, sure, as long as your proceeds went to the church. Right. I mean, got a couple Catholics doing this show. I mean, just as long, I mean, they're getting 20%. Either way, by the way, they get 20% of the loss and they get 20% of the win. Well, I mean, you could place the bet here, but that's going to cost you. And remember, if you win, a little something for the effort. Gotcha, Father. 6 weeks for where you place the legal bet. Now, I'm totally with the NFL, and I think you are too, and you and I are pro gambling. If states want to legalize it, listen, you don't have to gamble if you don't want to. You don't. You don't have to smoke if you don't want to. You don't have to drink if you don't want to. That's always been my feeling. All right? I know you can get addicted to a bunch of different things. I don't know what to tell you. Don't do it. You don't have the money to gamble? Don't gamble. That's my attitude. And I know that you get a lot of heat for having that attitude. I get it. But that's always been my attitude. But if you're a league, you cannot allow gambling on your league by the people in your league. You can't. Not one $5 bet. I think the first bet's a year. I think the second time you do it, you're banned for life. And I'm totally in favor of that. These games have to be on the up and up. Well, let me get this straight. I mean, Mark, you've been a part of a team. You know how when guys can spend hours on team grounds, you get fed. That's where you go to work out. That's where the guys are, and you want to hang. You don't want to go home. You got to take care of the kids.
It's the one place every player misses.
Right.
They don't miss the games. They miss the room.
And so you placed a bet on March Madness, and you did so during an off-season workout in a team facility, and you got a 6-week suspension. I got to admit, that seems a little harsh. That would seem, in all honesty, you couldn't get a warning. You couldn't get a mulligan. You couldn't get a game. 6 games? Oof. That's harsh. And what is it with the Lions? Are they the only team that's gambling? What the heck? Just about everybody was a Detroit Lion.
2 of the Lions immediately kicked off the team. The 2 good players were suspended by the team.
It's funny how that works.
One was a former number 1 draft pick.
Oh, no. We're keeping you around, you idiot. You 2. Well, hell, we don't even know if we were keeping you on the final roster anyways. Now we're definitely not doing that. We're going to make an example out of you. Of course, they were the two guys who actually bet on the NFL, though. So they said, we're not waiting a year for you. Hell, we're barely waiting 6 weeks for these two yahoos. Although they are starters, so I guess we'll wait.
We'll wait. Marvin Jones Jr. just saw a snap count go up quite a bit for those first 6 games.
As a matter of fact, he did, yes. Mm-hmm. So apparently that's the rule. All right. Just if you get a job with the NFL, all right, you can gamble on sports not called the NFL. You just can't do any of it. And anything associated with the team, cafeteria, locker room, workout room, plane. If you did it in the parking lot, like you left the facility, you're in the parking lot, and before you got onto the highway, you placed the bet on your phone.
Team grounds. Would be nice if there was like a cell phone lot just off the grounds.
A gambling lot?
Gambling lot. You don't want you texting and driving. But we would prefer you make all your bets in this designated area.
And
by DraftKings.
There you go. I was just going to say, who's sponsoring the cell phone lot? Be brought to you by the nearest casino in whatever city and state you're in.
Unbelievable.
Yep. So that's the NFL. That's their form of justice. It's another reason to boo Goodell come Thursday night in Kansas City. Unbelievable. Got the starting 5 coming up. Got a good show lined up. Got Lightning, Panthers, Heat guests. Talk a little NFL as well. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know about that kind of relief about employees of DraftKings, but my guess I could see that.
Test.
You sound muffled. It's weird. You've never sounded like that before. That mic has never sounded like that.
Nope.
Oh yeah, I hear it now.
That
It sounds terrible.
I'm telling you, it sounds mono. It sounds like there's only one channel.
Everything's pressed the right way.
Yeah, I know.
That's unfortunate.
You're
Well
not
played.
even there now.
Oh, okay. We're back in a minute.
Kind of relief. That's just Keith doing his manipulating of the refs. Although what he described, it was perfectly. Yeah, Stamkos knew exactly what he was doing. I will say the White Sox were in a bind Friday night. So you got to pitch to one and walk the other. Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena back to back. What are you going to do? They walked Franco, pitched to Arozarena. He beats him.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Welcome back to Smooth 106.7 FM.
We're not on that frequency. It's important that we give the right numbers. We're on stations all over the state. Don't confuse people. They're already confused enough by Hip Hop Felipe over here.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
There.
FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Is it okay if one of the stations that we're on I get right?
It would be awesome.
Okay, so next time that, it's easy listening, whatever, I'll just look up and, I'll pick whatever.
A station that we're actually on.
Okay, good. Fair enough. Are you sure we're not on a 106.7? I think we're close. Anyway, 21 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Yeah, Panthers tried everything. Went with Alex Lyon on Friday, went with Bob yesterday. Here's the problem. They're playing the Boston Bruins, okay? It doesn't matter. Hell, they played the weekend without their top 2 centers just for the heck of it. And they won both games. 6-2 yesterday. Allmark, the goalie. Mark, did you see? This doesn't happen very often. So he makes 41 saves. They're up 5-2 with 3.5 minutes to go. And a little melee breaks out in front of his net, and he gets into it. And he gets a misconduct penalty. He's done. He's got to leave. Now, fortunately for the Bruins, they were up 3 or 4 goals at the time. It didn't matter, but 3.5 minutes to go, it's you got to put the backup goalie in. What do you mean? Well,
He had enough of Tkachuk trying to hit him.
Yeah, he did.
He had enough and let the gloves fly, let the helmet off, threw a couple of punches.
Yep. Jim Montgomery, the Bruins coach, after the game was asked his thoughts. He said, I loved it. Listen, if they win the cup, the guy's already a legend. What do you think of Allmark? What do you mean what I think of Allmark? He led us to a cup and he got involved in a fight, for goodness sakes. Love the guy. Bruins up 3-1. Game 5 is Wednesday, so the Panthers can get in a good solid round of golf today before they, get to put in a lot of good solid rounds of golf beginning Thursday. Carolina's up 3-1 on the Islanders. So much for close games. Carolina took care of New York 5-2. Game 5's Tuesday. Carolina's first road win in 2 years in the playoffs. They made it to Game 7 of the second round last year. They didn't win a single road game. And they had lost Game 3 at the Island in this series. So it's their first road playoff win in 2 years. Dallas even the series of Minnesota at 2, beating the Wild 3-2. Game 5 is Tuesday. Tyler Seguin with 2 goals. Ottinger with 32 saves for Dallas. Wild won in Los Angeles last night. Kings led 3-0 after 1. Edmonton tied it heading to the third. Scored a late one to send it to overtime. And then Zach Hyman, the game winner midway through the first OT. Edmonton, 3 of the 4 games against the Kings have gone overtime. This is the first one they won. Series tied at 2. Game 5's Tuesday. Draisaitl 2 goals. McDavid 3 assists.
May have saved the season, down 3-0 after the first, come back and win that game. What a huge, huge win for the Edmonton Oilers.
Hell, may have saved the organization. They lose this series, changes are going to be made. And everybody's fearful. What if McDavid pulls an NBA thing and walks in and says, I'm sick of this? Lightning tonight got to even things up with Toronto, 7:30 TBS. 7:30 on TBS. Lightning hosting the Leafs down 2-1. Rangers up 2-1 hosting the Devils. Winnipeg down 2-1 hosting the Golden Knights. Seattle down 2-1 hosting Colorado. Home teams so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs are 11-17. How about that? And they went 0-8 over the weekend.
Well, and I'm guessing road teams are favored in at least 3 of the 4 tonight.
Well, I know New Jersey's not favored, but it could be.
Road teams are favored in 3 of the 4. The Rangers are a favorite at home. Every other road team is a favorite, albeit slight in Vegas and Toronto's case.
I was going to say, so you can get Tampa Bay as an underdog tonight?
Probably even money if you bet the Lightning by the time they work it back that way.
NBA playoffs. Knicks are up 3-1 on the Cavs. Jalen Brunson with 29 points. Donovan Mitchell was MIA this weekend in New York, which is weird because he's from the city. Knicks 102, Cleveland 93. Game 5 Wednesday in Cleveland. Golden State survived Sacramento. 126-125 to even that series at 2. Game 5 is Wednesday. So the Warriors are up 5, 45 seconds to go. Steph's getting some pressure in the backcourt, and he calls timeout.
Which would have been a good play if they had a timeout.
So Sacramento hits the technical, makes it a 4-point game, and that's a turnover. So now Sacramento has the ball. 7 seconds later, Fox hits a 3. It's a 1-point game. Golden State has to shoot before the shot clock runs out. They miss. Sacramento ends up with final shot. Harrison Barnes missed a contested 3 at the buzzer. Warriors survive. It's been a very fun series. Boston up 3-1 on Atlanta, 129-121. Game 5 is Tuesday. Tatum and Brown each at 31. Trae Young was really good in Atlanta. He had 35 in the win in Game 3. He had 35 in the loss in Game 4. DeJounte Murray is likely to be suspended for Game 5. You may see video of this today. Walking off the court after the loss yesterday, it looked like he headbutted an official. Now, maybe he just got in his face, but it certainly looked like there was contact made.
There was contact. I've seen it from 3 different angles, and there was definitely, whether it was a chest bump, a headbutt, he definitely made contact with the official, and he's going to get a 1-game suspension.
At least. Although I have to think headbutting an official is worse than stomping on a guy's chest, but, maybe
Depends on who did it.
That's a good point, Mark. And Minnesota staved off elimination. They beat Denver in overtime, 114-108. Jokic did have 43 and 11. Anthony Edwards with 34. Game 5 of that series is Tuesday in Denver. Tonight, the Heat By the way, care to guess the spread on this game?
Already looked at it. The Bucks are, I think, a 5.5 point favorite.
Yeah. Are we sure Giannis is playing? 7:30 TNT. So the Lightning are on TBS and the Heat are on TNT. Both at 7:30. Oladipo out for the year. He tore his patella tendon in his left knee. So Hero and Oladipo are out. Jimmy Butler, by the way, missed the second half of game 3 with an injury. So we don't know about Giannis and Jimmy Butler for tonight. Heat are up 2-1. First time a 1 seed's been down 2-1 in a playoff series in like 6 years. Lakers looking to go up 3-1, hosting Memphis tonight. They're a 4.5 point favorite. Dylan Brooks not suspended for punching LeBron south of the border in game 3. Once again, apparently it depends on who you are. Although I would have thought Dylan Brooks would have had a chance to get suspended. He's not exactly a choir boy. But, all right, Major League Baseball. The Rays are still unbeaten at home. They're 13-0. They swept the White Sox 4-1. They're 19-3 on the season. They've homered in all 22 games to start the year. That's a Major League record. Zach Eflin, 5 innings, 1 earned run. By the way, did you see the weekend attendance for the Rays? 22,000 and change Saturday, 22,700 yesterday, 63,000 for the 3-game series against the White Sox. That's actually representative. I mean, if they average 21,000 a game, they draw about 1.7 million on the season. I mean, that'll work. That'll help.
That would be remarkable.
Yeah. So how about that? People
and now the
showing up-
Astros come to town.
Yeah. Now it'll suck tonight because the Lightning are playing. So I don't know how good the walk-up will be and what have you. But just saying, 3-game series against the Astros, who, by the way, had a really good week last week. They took 2 or 3 from the Jays and then swept the Braves. We'll get to that in a moment. Toronto beat the Yankees 5-1, taking 2 of 3. Baltimore 2-1 in 10 innings over Detroit. They've won 6 in a row. They're in second. They're 14-7. How'd you like to be 14-7 and 4.5 out of first? Boston beat Milwaukee 12-5. Yoshida with 2 homers. The Brewers lost combined with the Pirates' 2-0 win over the Reds. Sit down. Hold on to something tight. It's the final Monday in April. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place. They've won 7 in a row. They're 16-7. Tell you what, though, people in Pittsburgh, yeah, could care less. 11,300. Saturday, 12,000. Whatever. First place team, whatever. We don't
Not
care.
buying it.
Yeah, draft's Thursday. Who are the Steelers taking? Cleveland beat the Marlins 7-4. Miami did take 2 of 3 in the series, however. Miami's 12-10 so far this year. Houston swept the Braves. 5-2 was the final. Atlanta's lost 4 in a row. They're still a half a game ahead of the Mets, who lost to the Giants 5-4. Phillies took 3 of 4 from the Rockies. They won 9-3. Minnesota avoided the sweep at home against the Nats, winning 3-1. They were a game ahead of Cleveland in the Central. Dodgers got a homer and 4 RBIs from their new shortstop, Mookie Betts, in the 7-3 win over the Cubs. DeGrom, 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. Texas, 5-2 over Oakland. The A's are 4-18. 4-18. Angels 4-3 over Kansas City. Mark, did you see they went back to back to back?
They did, with Trout and Ohtani going the last 2.
Yeah, Taylor Wood, Trout, and Ohtani in the 5th or 6th inning there, break a tie in a 4-3 win. San Diego took 3 of 4 from Arizona, 7-5 the final. Matt Carpenter with 5 RBIs. And the Cards prevented the sweep in Seattle. They won 7-3. Rays hosting the Astros tonight, as we mentioned. Marlins in Atlanta against the Braves. NASCAR, Kyle Busch barely had enough gas under caution in the second overtime to win at Talladega. Eric Almirola, Tampa native, finished 20th. Ross Chastain, Alva native, finished 22nd. Ross is second in the points, 11 behind Christopher Bell. In golf, did you see what Zach Johnson said, by the way, during the Zurich Classic? You know, he's the Ryder Cup captain.
Right.
And him and Stricker, I think, were playing together as a team. Last Ryder Cup captain, next Ryder Cup captain. And so Zach's asked about the LIV guys and the Ryder Cup. And Zach said, well, we haven't ruled them out. Whoa. What? Yeah, he said, hey, they have not been kicked out of the PGA of America. And as we all know, the PGA of America, not the PGA Tour, the PGA of America, the PGA Championship, the Ryder Cup, he goes, they're still members of the PGA of America. He said, he all but said, Mark, he will sit down with the 6 guys who automatically qualify and basically say, you want DJ? You want Koepka? If you don't, I'm fine with that. But if you want them, I'm fine with that. I mean, it's basically what Zach Johnson said. Mark, they like DJ. And
I know.
He went 5-0 in the last Ryder Cup.
Right.
Only one other American's ever done that. Larry Nelson, by the way, the answer to the trivia question. Nick Hardy, Davis Riley won the team event in New Orleans by 2. Taylor Gooch won the LIV event in Australia. They had massive crowds, 35,000 all 3 days. It was a wild scene. Also, there was a Chase Koepka, Brooks's brother, had a hole-in-one, and they turned the 12th
on the party hole. On the party hole, he aced the party hole.
And they all threw their beers.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. And the PGA Tour can't say anything because that's called Phoenix. By the way, Lilia Vu, the American, went birdie to force the playoff, then birdied the first playoff hole to win the Chevron, formerly the Dinah Shore. That's a major. She beat Angel Yin in the playoff. Nelly Korda missed the playoff by 1. You don't want me to give the 4 teams that advanced to the XFL playoffs, do you?
It's up to you.
DC, Seattle, Houston, and Arlington. Orlando finished 1-9. Be curious whether or not they're invited back for year 2. USFL's winning the ratings game, by the way, because their games are on network TV and the XFL games are on cable. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Henry Yoho to talk Bolts, David Dwork to talk the Panthers, Tony Fiorentino to talk Heat, and Jason Cole will talk a little NFL with all still ahead on Miller and Moulton. Great show lined up for you. Thanks so much for listening right here. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're telling me the St. Louis Battlehawks didn't make the playoffs?
No, they lost in a tiebreaker to Seattle. It was very complicated.
That poor city.
And not only that, they were 7-3, but in the other division, the second place team was 4-6, and so they make it.
Unbelievable. I unplugged it and plugged it back in. It still sounds muffled.
Yeah, it's weird. It's never sounded like that before.
Paul, no offense, and I know you love FGCU baseball and we'll have Toe on at some point, but did you just not hear the guest list we have on this show today? It's college baseball, of which 6 people care about.
Yeah, I know somebody who went to the game yesterday. There were 100 people there.
Heard awful things about the going to a softball game from one of the parents that we talk with.
Really?
Said the bleachers were disgusting. So that basically birds have just crapped all over the bleachers and they don't clean them. So the experience was great. You get a beer. The game was great. The bleachers were disgusting. You couldn't sit down. Their athletic department's a nightmare, Rye. Oh, I know. I've known for 10 years. Yeah. You buy it?
To Houston or to Indy trading up for him?
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of April. Month is just flying along. Rays are hardly losing. Got the Heat up 2-1 on Milwaukee. Lightning facing a big one tonight, down 2-1 on Toronto. Eastern Conference team hasn't beaten them in the playoffs since before the pandemic. I'm fired up for both games tonight. They're on at the same time on two different Turner networks. I'm going to feel like I'm watching the NCAA tournament again, going back and forth.
No true TV, though, David. No true TV.
Right. Just the two big boys, TNT and TBS. So you got that set up in your living room. You got two TVs. You can bring in a third. Not me, man. I just got one.
I'm going to have to bring in a third tonight for Rangers Devils.
Really? Wow, look at you. Look at you. By the way,
or maybe Rays Astros. Who you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Could be an ALCS preview right there. Rays Astros. I don't know if Major League Baseball wants that. I mean, neither team's the Yankees, but you know, could be. Could be. How about the Yankees? What are they, 6 back already? I don't want to say the Rays are off to a good start or anything, but they have a 6-game lead on the Yankees.
I was watching a little bit of the Yanks in Toronto over the weekend, and whoever does color with Michael Kay there was like, just talking about these two teams are going to be fighting out for the division. The Rays are going to come back to the pack. And he just was so emphatic about saying it. I'm like, are they?
Yeah.
Are they?
I mean,
is they're 19-3 right now.
I mean,
the Yankees have lost one series so far this year. They're 6 games back. They're 13-9.
I mean, would it really be that outrageous that the Rays played? I mean, coming back to the pack would be playing 500 ball the rest of the way. 500 ball the rest of the way. They win 89 games. I'm telling you, how many more games above 500 do they have to get where I'm allowed to put the X next to them in the standings, clinch playoff spot? And then in parentheses, I could put, not mathematically, but ... I mean, how many games when you get above 500 early enough in the season do we just go, well, only 5 playoff spots left in the American League?
They're yet to lose a home game.
Correct. 13-0. Now, they have not played a bunch of good teams, but they did sweep the Red Sox in a 4-game series, and the Red Sox are above 500. Of course, they're in last in the AL East, but that's a whole other story. By the way, mathematically, the entire division cannot make the playoffs. There's only 3 wild cards. So I just need to get that out there. This isn't like in football, which technically an entire division could make the playoffs. All right. We don't have that as a possibility.
Poor Red Sox, game above 500. They're 7.5 back in last place.
Right. And they could just take out that 4-game series at the Trop. Their record would look pretty impressive. They'd be like 12-7. That's not bad. Hey, speaking of baseball for one more minute, I'm guessing that there are 4 people who listening who watched this last night. Mets Giants last night, Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN. By the way, very nice thing that ESPN did to the Mets. You know, they had a 10-game West Coast trip. They made sure that they had to play the night game on their last day on the 10-game trip. That's good. I'm sure the Mets were thrilled to be playing the night game. Great. So David Cohn is part of Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And Cohn, former pitcher. And so he did, before the game, he did a rosin test in which basically he said, we want to see if Scherzer's full of it or what's going on. And so Cohn says, okay, here's the rosin. And he goes, now, I didn't have as much sweat as Scherzer because I haven't been pitching. He goes, but, did a little bit of sweat with the rosin. And, this is how my fingers are. And so now in theory, you tell me, hey, that's too sticky. And he takes the alcohol and the water and he washes it. And he goes, yeah, the alcohol is a problem. And he proceeds to take the baseball. Now, remember, he's washed his hands, water, the rubbing alcohol, and that's it. Has not put rosin or anything else back on his hand. Takes his hand, grabs the baseball sticks to his index and middle finger. 6. And he's holding it up. Right there's a visual. He's like, this is a problem. And I was impressed, first of all, just to come up with the idea to do it. I thought it was good television. It's like, oh, well, okay. Even though we all think we know what's involved, a rosin bag, water, rubbing alcohol, sweat. But anyway, Cohn did it. And then he showed in which he's like, and then he actually like was using his fingers and he's like, my fingers are sticking together here. He goes, and I just washed my hands. And Cohn was basically saying out loud, I don't know, Major League Baseball may need to come up with a plan B. I don't know, get a something that the rosin bag can't have as much rosin. He goes, I don't know what to tell you. You can't get in a situation in which you have to wash your hands because the only thing that will take the rosin off is the rubbing alcohol. But once you put the rubbing alcohol on your hands, you might as well be putting, glue. It was actually really good television. I have no idea if anything will come of it.
Might need like lava, some of that really good soap.
I mean, I thought it was like
looks like a new sponsor's in line for Major League Baseball. If they could get some of that really strong work soap.
Could they get Bolitnikoff and Lester Hayes and do some Stickum ads?
Right.
But it was good TV. And ESPN got some kudos for airing it because they kind of made Major League Baseball look not so good. Cohen's like, listen, I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't care. Okay. But I'm just telling you, this is what we got. And I did it because I was curious myself. And he's like, it's sticky. This is a problem. So now, I mean, Scherzer's still suspended, and we'll see if anybody else ends up having a sticky problem. But, I mean, Cohen seemed to kind of give the indication. He goes, I could see where this will be a problem.
So I don't know if you caught this, switching gears a little bit to football, but did you see the comments that I thought were interesting from the Boston College coach that apparently NFL people contacted him? The really good receiver from BC is going to be the top. Flowers there is going to be, one of the top receivers picked in the draft.
Right, Zay Flowers.
And he could have transferred. And apparently by not transferring, David, that is why he's going to be the first receiver taken, because of his loyalty in sticking with the team. I think that's the biggest bunch of crap that I've ever heard in my life. The
wow.
BC coach went on Football Morning in America and says, I know for a fact there were some big schools and how much they were offering him. He came to me and told me he didn't want to leave, which is hard for a kid to turn down. And now in return, he's going to make more money because of it, because every head coach I talk to wants a loyal guy, wants a guy they know they can count on. That is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard in my life. Good for Flowers for staying for BC, and if he wanted to stay and play there, that's great. That's great. But not transferring or transferring, it may have cost him money. He may have gone higher. I don't want to hear about loyalty from a college football coach who will leave in a nanosecond for a job for more money.
The only time in recent memory, Mark, that I've heard of a team complimenting a college guy before he went to the pros for quote unquote loyalty was forget the team. I don't think it was Atlanta, but somebody was interviewing Matt Ryan leading into the draft, and they had him in the room for the 15, 20 minutes. And they basically said, listen, you're very impressive, especially with, the receiving core you had to work with. And apparently Matt Ryan like stood up for his guys to this team and was like, I don't know what you're talking about here. And he starts going through receiver by receiver and what have you. And he basically apparently looked at this NFL guy and said, I'll go to war with those guys over your guys right now. And so the team was like, oh, I got to admit it, loyal guy. That's pretty impressive. You know, I mean, I think he's wrong, but okay. That's the only instance of using that word that I've heard of in the last 20 years.
Is there anybody less loyal than a college football coach? Come on. These guys, I mean, they're in a job where they can get fired at a moment's notice, and we all know that. They will also leave at a moment's notice for a better job. So stop it with this loyalty crap.
So what we're saying is when the Penn State job comes open, and if this guy's a candidate for him, we should point out to him, hey, come on now, be like Zay Flowers.
Be loyal.
Penn State's offering you more money and all that, but come on now, you're a BC guy. I'm just saying. Well, Fran McCaffrey had one of those moments like a week ago, being asked about the transfer portal and college basketball and all that. And he starts talking about, you know, these kids just getting up and leaving and what have you. And somebody said to him, you mean like coaches? Guys have been doing this for 40 years.
Waiting for your answer, coach.
Hello? Is this on? Hello?
So I just found that just one of those things that I watched, and I'm like, what are you doing? Just not a good look to me.
He got his interview on Football Morning in America or whatever it was. So Thursday night, you know, what are we? About 84 hours basically from the draft. Bryce Young's going number 1. By the way, do you have a problem with that? He is 5'10", 204.
Look, I get why you don't take an Ohio State quarterback, but I'm more of a Stroud guy than a Bryce Young guy.
I mean, Russell Wilson, 5'10" and 5'8", right? I mean, we haven't had a lot of guys under 6 feet who were exceptional in this league. You're taking them first overall, you know. And it's no big deal or anything. It's only the future of the franchise. All of your careers. You sure about this? Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcart.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're doing the same thing I was thinking of right there.
Hmm?
Literally was gonna tell you. All you sounded like at the end of that was,
I'm watching it.
Results of the latest Gallup poll. Half the country never even heard of the word Watergate. Nobody gives a shit. You guys are probably pretty tired, right? Well, you should be. Go on home. Get a nice hot bath. Rest up 15 minutes. And get your asses back in gear. We're under a lot of pressure, you know, and you put us there.
no, go ahead. Yeah, you just have to do it fast.
Writing on this, except the First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of the press, and maybe the future of the country. Not that any of that matters. But if you guys fuck up again, I'm going to get mad.
Oh, good.
Did you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Golly.
I literally was waiting to come back on air. It's like, what are you just doing? Watergate there? All the president's men?
I know you guys are under a lot of pressure. We have a lot riding on this. It's the First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of the press, and probably the future of the country. Not that any of that matters. So are we doing the play of the day?
Yeah.
I have it ready to go. I'll be quick. I won't talk much.
It's so interesting how that sounds. It literally sounds, yeah, it sounds like a sock over the microphone.
Well, whoa, does that sound a little better?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's the whatchamacallit?
The sock.
The sock, the head, whatever.
Ambien, I'm sorry, but Miller and Moulton have done a lot of work for free. It's kind of grown old.
Yep.
Headline: Americans now spend more money on legal cannabis than chocolate.
Yep.
How about that?
I would have thought the cannabis sales would have helped the chocolate sales.
Go hand in hand. Miller Moulton Munchies, brought to you by
DraftKings. No.
$10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Henry Yoho. We start looking ahead. Lightning Leafs, game 4 tonight. Toronto up 2-1 with the overtime win in game 3. Controversial win. Lightning looked as if they got jobbed by the officials. A goal, which would have made it 4-2, waved off. Toronto able to hang in there, score the tying goal with a minute to go in regulation, win it in OT. A fight between Stamkos and Austin Matthews, first one ever in playoff history from two guys who had scored 60 or more goals. This series had a little bit of everything. It's only 3 games old. Game 4 tonight, 7:30 TBS.
You know, you'll see articles in it written that the Warriors dynasty was a 3-pointer away from ending yesterday. Is Tampa's on? Are the Lightning in the same spot tonight?
Well, here's my question. Like Golden State for one more year, they're contractually tied. Draymond Green's going to pick up his player option, and Clay still has another year left. So they don't have the financial flexibility and what have you to really reshape their team until after next season. Well, you know, the NHL cap's been going up $1 million a year because of the pandemic and revenues lost and what have you. So teams, if you don't have cap flexibility, you're not getting it. And who can the Lightning get rid of that will give them cap flexibility in which they can do more with it than who they're getting rid of? I mean, remember, they lost a top 9 forward and arguably their second best defenseman last year. They just had to get rid of these guys just to be able to do business. And I think even the most diehard of Lightning fan, Mark, would acknowledge this roster's getting just a little bit thinner and worse every year.
There's no doubt.
So,
They're having to do more with less, but the key positions have remained. Vasilevsky, Hedman, Stamkos, Kucherov. We know the players. Point Merge is a great player.
Yep. So now the question becomes, you know, they've either given away draft picks, young prospects, or they've promoted, you know, their bottom 6 forwards in some cases are the guys they've promoted. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a hotshot prospect in the AHL who's going to come up and help them. They're not going to have the financial flexibility to really do much of anything. I mean, you know, Mark, Corey Perry's making $1 million a year. I mean, he has cut them a hell of a deal to stay around. And he's very valuable in the playoffs. I mean, he may have gone 25 games to end the regular season without scoring a goal. Corey Perry's a key player in the playoffs. I mean, I just don't know, much like the Warriors next year. Pretty much what you see with the Warriors this year is what you're going to have next year. They're just going to be a year older. Doesn't your gut tell you that's probably the Lightning also?
Well, and what Tampa's done more than anything is they've been able to go out at the deadline and find somebody that's been able to help them for the stretch run. They've been able to piecemeal a playoff roster together at the deadline.
You know, and that their big deadline deal here was Tanner Jeannot, and that's a multi-year deal. He's a young guy. He's under contract for multiple years. I mean, that wasn't just to help him now. I mean, in theory, he's got to become a key part of this team for the next 2-3 years. But, you know, as guys get older, you worry about injuries. And it's not, here's the other thing, Mark. I mean, the East is loaded. I mean, once the Lightning get in the playoffs, they're a top choice. And they will be next year too. But it's getting harder and harder to make the playoffs in the East.
Oh, there's no doubt. Buffalo is a good team this year. They're on the cusp of becoming a good hockey team. You know, that
Ottawa, Detroit,
Washington missed, Pittsburgh missed. They think that their run is still going on. As you mentioned, Ottawa and Detroit are getting better.
So, you know, right now, if you're a Lightning fan, do you think next year's team is going to be better than this year's team is right now? But I'll say this, and Cooper all but said it after game 3. In fact, I think he did say it. He basically said, listen, we played a good game tonight. I'm not worried about us at all. I mean, he all but said, we play like we did tonight 4 more times, we're going to be on the winning end of the handshake line. Trust me. I mean, he didn't say we outplayed them tonight and lost, but he knew they did. Now, that's tough with all the injuries and they're favored and you outplay them and the other goal. I mean, it's not often that you could actually say Vasilevsky was not the best goalie in the game, but he was not the best goalie in the game Saturday. Now, I don't know if that happens again the rest of the series, but it might have been the one time the Leafs needed their goalie to help steal a game.
So I just look at this game tonight as bigger than tonight's game, if you know what I mean. Because I'm with you. I don't know how the Lightning can get better next year. With where they are on the cap, with what the roster looks like, there will be moves that they are going to be forced to make.
Now, in theory, their top 6 players are healthy and their younger players get better. And listen, their goalie on top of his game, best goalie in the world. Their defenseman on top of his game, arguably the best defenseman in the world. I don't know that there are 5 forwards right now that better than Braden Point. Probably, but I don't think there are 10.
And even if there are, you get the point that we're making, that this team up front still can get it done. But depth has been a problem. They've been able to piece some guys together at the deadline the last couple of years, but they've lost key pieces each year. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, what do you got for us?
The LA Kings led late in the third period until the Oilers tied it, sent it to overtime, and Zach Hyman with the OT winner. The call from Jack Michaels of Sportsnet.
Deadlocked at 4. Edmonton has never led. Hyman left wing for the win. He shoots and scores. Zach Hyman. This game is over. This series is tied. 5-4. Edmonton in overtime.
Now there's a call. That's a good one.
Our buddy John Forsland is doing the series on television. It worked out perfectly for him. His Kraken play on the alternate nights that the Kings and the Oilers are playing. So he's doing Colorado, Seattle for Seattle TV, and then he's doing Kings, Oilers for Turner.
That first period ended right around 10 o'clock. It was 3-0. I looked squarely at the television, and it looked at me, and it said, go to bed. It's 3-0. I listened. I got up this morning. The first thing I do is grab my phone and look at the notifications of what I missed. And the first thing I see is Edmonton completes or Oilers complete comeback. And I'm like, damn.
I know, but it went over overtime, though. And then you got to make that call.
Right.
You know, are you in or not? Because it could go on forever.
I wanted to get some sleep before work today. And that's our Clutch Vodka. I was not clutch. The Edmonton Oilers were very clutch. And that's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K.
When do the home teams start winning in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Road teams are 17-11. Road teams went 8-0 this weekend. 8-0. 4 wins Saturday, 4 wins Sunday. 4 of the 8 wins in overtime. You would think the percentages, the odds, right? Home team's got to win some games tonight?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, and let's hope it starts with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have a monster Game 4 against Toronto tonight. We'll talk with Henry Yoho coming up here in about 8 minutes' time about that game. David Dwork will join us in the 8 o'clock hour to talk about the Panthers. Tony Fiorentino to talk Heat. Jason Cole to talk NFL. All still ahead here on Miller and Moulton. The text line is open at 21,000. 21-000 to take your comments on the weekend sporting events. We'll talk the Bolts when we come back. Big Game 4 tonight against Toronto. That's next.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. No, I mean, we get paid for doing the show, but when we do a Twitch broadcast, it's like if we're doing a draft show, that would just be us doing it for fun. And it's 4 hours, and I don't blame David for not wanting to do it alone. That's all.
Mark, I'm kind of terrified.
Yeah?
I don't know about terrified, but my head looks at the Rangers roster and goes, I don't know if anybody has a better one. They got 4 lines. They got 3 defensive pairings.
And they've got a really good goaltender.
They got one of the 3 best goalies in the world. The coach is a proven coach. Taking a team to the finals. I mean, I got to admit, Top Golf doesn't advertise Empire. I mean, it really should be Rangers Bruins in the conference finals. They've played 1 playoff series in 50 years. Ambien, Arizona's tanking. Arizona's on the clock. ambient. They got a rookie coach and a rookie GM, and their starting quarterback is out for the first half of the year. And they're trading away all their assets. I mean, looks an awful lot like Chicago last year.
Henry's on hold.
So, Felipe, are you emotionally engaged in the Heat series, or do you think this is a fluke?
Well, of course, I'm emotionally engaged in it. Anything involving Miami Heat basketball, I'm emotionally engaged into. But I do feel conflicted because it's not going to go anywhere.
But
if we win, we play. Oh man, Knicks Heat playoff series. That would be fun. But I think the Knicks are better. They play more as a cohesive unit.
Well, yeah, certainly their roster is better right now and deeper. Right. But
the Heat have the best player, but I don't know. Brunson's playing amazing. I love Jalen Brunson. He's got John Starks on his feet. I mean, come on.
Wow, Starks is just happy he's got the free seats and the good seats too.
Right. I hate saying it, but it's better for basketball when the Knicks are relevant.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it that the NBA would root for the Knicks over the Cavs.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll talk a little Panthers and a little Heat next hour. Right now, Lightning. Is it a must win? The math says no, but it feels like yes. Down 2-1, game 4 tonight at home against Toronto. Henry Yoho covers the Lightning for Bolts by the Bay, boltsbythebay.com. Follow the site on Twitter, Bolts by the Bay. Follow Henry on Twitter at Henry Yoho, YOHO. All right, Henry, must win.
And well, I guess like you said, technically not, but it's probably as close as you can get to it, because it feels like if this Maple Leafs team's going to get out of the first round, it's probably going to have to be doing it in 5 or 6 games rather than going 7, which has not worked out so well for them in the past.
Well, there's no doubt there, but Tampa, obviously a golden opportunity. That goal would have made it 4-2 that was disallowed, turned everything in this series. But Tampa's been there before. Obviously, they've got to overcome that. Just how difficult, in your estimation, will it be to overcome what happened in Game 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened in Game 3 was totally, the word that came to mind for me was gut punch. As well as they played, it's hard to imagine Lightning really playing much better than they did over a whole 60-plus minutes of a game and still not being able to win. It was a total blow, not being able to get a win out of the way they played. But I like you said, this team has been through so much before. They've had performances like that, not end up in wins in the past. And, you just got to somewhat tip your cap to Toronto for hanging around. And they got, more saves, I think, in that game from their netminder, Ilya Samsonov, who had his best game by far of the series. And, that was the difference. The Lightning weren't able to get that lucky bounce one way or the other, and Toronto ended up getting more saves, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
Yeah, not often in the last 4 years that we've talked about the opposing goalie as opposed to the Lightning goalie, but Samsonov was terrific for the Leafs, kept them in it, and even their coach said it was a game that they would not have won in years past. Henry, I will say, though, and we're talking with Henry Yoho, boltsbythebay.com. Henry, I thought the Lightning reached a level in periods 2 and 3 that, I got to be honest, I didn't know if they still had it in them against a quality opponent like a Toronto or a Boston. And honestly, I mean, they were taking it to the Leafs. And that in and of itself, Henry, has to be encouraging, because I don't know about you, I didn't know if they had that in them anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. Based on what we saw a lot of the regular season, especially towards the end, this Lightning team kicking it to another gear. I thought this was by far the best game that they played, not only in the playoffs but over the last half of the season or so. And John Cooper, he always preaches process over outcome, which is essentially just believing in the way you play, and more often than not, it's going to result in a win. And I think that the Lightning will take a performance like they had on Saturday night again tonight, and they take their chances. I think if they play the way that they did the other night, I think that they're going to win more often than not. And I think that they just have to believe in what they're doing and just stick to the way they're playing, because it's not too often they're going to play as well as they did and not come out on the other end of it. So I think that they can totally find some peace in the way that they're playing, and can totally be confident in that right now.
The other side of that, though, is that the Toronto Stars are starting to play like stars. And my biggest concern for Tampa is that, we've watched the Toronto Stars not perform well. Well, they're getting all the goals. They're getting the chances. What do you do if you're Tampa to slow down Toronto's best players?
Yeah. Well, that's been the thing for the Leafs in the past playoffs. It's been, their big guys not coming through in the big moments. And that's what everyone kind of points to. And the big guys have been coming through, including, some of the depth guys, like Ryan O'Reilly coming over from the deadline from St. Louis, playoff MVP from years past, has been a huge difference maker. And, it's really interesting how Toronto's got more of the depth, it seems, as far as the forwards go. But, the Lightning, they can just rely on some of that past experience that, that they've been there before against these top guys before. And, they just have to, believe that they can keep going, because the top guys for Toronto, I think, have probably outplayed the top guys for Tampa for stretches of this series. And I think that, you're going to have to see something big come through from the Lightning's top guys, especially tonight. I think, especially on the man advantage as well, which has gone pretty quiet over the last couple of games as far as the Lightning power play is concerned.
Although Hedman had some golden opportunities, hit a post, just missed on a couple of others. Hedman was brilliant in Game 3. Mark, I agree with you and Henry and everything that you guys just said over the last 2 minutes. But the fact remains, Toronto was up 2-1 in this series last year. All right. And then they were up 3-2 in this series last year. I mean, has things changed between these two franchises yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the parallels between this year's series and last year's are eerily similar. First two games of the series, both teams ended up winning, in blowout fashion. Coming back to Tampa, playing a tight game. It's a lot of the same storylines as the year before. And, you kind of want to feel like things are sort of starting to change in the Maple Leafs' favor. But like you said, they've been in this position in the past. They've been up 2-1. They've been up 3-2 and haven't been able to slay the dragon, if you will. And, I would kind of think that things might be changing in their favor, but until I see otherwise, I totally believe that the Lightning can hang around in this series because they know what they're doing. And the Leafs have been here before and proven that they haven't been able to get over the hill. So until I see otherwise, I have no reason to doubt that the Lightning can end up coming back and end up winning this thing kind of in the way that we sort of expect.
As good as they were in Game 3, Henry, give me one thing that they got to do better tonight to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think just the final execution maybe wasn't there. They had a ton of great chances, just weren't able to finish things off. I think that's going to be kind of a big difference. But for me, I come back to two things. Like, one being the power play. They went 0-3 in each of the last two games, and especially in game 3, if they were able to just pop one of those 3 power plays, it could have been a totally different game. One goal for them would have probably put it away. not allowed Toronto to hang around until they scored a game-tying goal in the last minute of the game. And so, in addition to the power play, I believe that Vasilevsky has got to play better. He hasn't. His save percentage has been below 900 in the last 2 games, and there's still nobody I would rather have in the Lightning net than him. But the truth of the matter is, he hasn't been that great the last 2 games. So I think that he's got to be better for sure, and I expect him to be.
Toronto last year did not beat Vasilevsky in back-to-back games. They have now done that in this series. He's Henry Yoho, boltsbythebay.com, boltsbythebay.com. Follow him on Twitter at Henry Yoho, Y-O-H-O. Henry, thanks for doing this. Enjoy the game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys as well. Thank you.
Henry Yoho joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Does it feel different?
He's right. Vasilevsky has to play better. I mean, that's the answer I thought he was going to give me when I asked the question. He's got to play better.
It was 2-1 Toronto at this point last year. Does it feel different to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because Toronto Stars are playing really well.
And they're deeper. On paper, things look better for Toronto. I agree with you. But man, here's, by the way, how I knew things feel differently. Mark, when you called, the years that you broadcast hockey, outside of the coaches and the players, nobody had a better feel for the team than you. And I could tell listening to you sometimes whether or not the team was in a good spot, no matter what the scoreboard of the series said, or whether, there's reason to be concerned here. Dave Mishkin was really nervous calling the first period of Game 3. Like every time the Lightning couldn't clear the puck and they were on the ice a little too long, he was concerned. If a turnover, and you and I have listened to Michigan for 20 years. Or I had never heard him as concerned as he was in the first period for the Lightning Saturday night. His voice told me they're not the better team, and they need to take care of the little things. Now that they score that late goal in the first period to get out of the period tied, and then in the second period they start taking it to him, and I'm listening to Michigan, and I'm like, oh, okay, now this is the guy I've heard do Lightning games the last years. Now they've even brought confidence into Michigan, in which Michigan's like, I'll be damned, the Lightning have showed up. And I don't know if that makes sense or not.
I know what you mean. I understand it. My theory in this series was Vasilevsky was the difference. He's not been a difference in this series yet.
No.
They need him to be a difference tonight.
Game 4, 7:30. TBS 7:30 for the Lightning. TNT 7:30 for the Heat. Oh, by the way, up 2-1 on Milwaukee. With no Tyler Hero, now no more Victor Oladipo because he tore his. Hell, he may not play next year. What a star!
He may never.
Career.
I know. I really felt badly when he went down, thinking, is that the end of his career? That's you don't like to think those thoughts, but with all the injuries he's already played through and overcome, how many times can he rehabilitate himself?
He missed over 2 years because of his last knee injury. He's in his early 30s. I'm with you. Spo after the game, think about it. They win a home playoff game by 22. Spo walks up to the podium and says, I want to throw up.
It was late game, too, when the injury happened.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the worst.
This is funny. We asked Felipe during the break, obviously, diehard Heat fan, and here they are. We still don't know if Giannis is going to play, and obviously Milwaukee's not looking that great, particularly without him. And, Heat have They have a shot to steal this series. Now, nobody thinks they're going to the finals or anything like that, but wow. For a team, remember, they lost the first playing game and they're losing with 5 minutes to go to Chicago 2 Fridays ago. I mean, this team was 5 minutes away from being done, and now they're up 2-1 against Milwaukee.
And a lot of people thought that coming back against Chicago wasn't necessarily the best thing long-term for this team. If they would have gotten bounced there, a little bit better opportunity for a draft pick, things like that. They don't have any draft picks, so that doesn't really matter now, does it?
Right. But,
the rebuild was going to start. It was tear this sucker down.
Guys are getting traded. We're moving on. Well,
not on Jimmy Butler's watch.
I was going to say, Jimmy Butler's like, could you just wait till the Milwaukee series is over? I still got a few games left in me.
And he said it before the series. No one believed in us last year. I'm fine with that. No one believes in us this year. I mean, Butler was out there before game 1, letting everybody know that the Heat were not done. No one believed a word that he said.
Another 30-point game for Jimmy, by the way. I mean,
it's
the way
playoff time.
he steps it up. Is
Jimmy
up
Butler.
there with some of the greats.
Yeah, the regular season is just, I got to play this, I guess, to get paid. But I'm playing for the spring. But listen, there's a word that is thrown around way too much nowadays: culture. And all I know is that basketball team in Miami, they got it. That coach, and it started with the GM, okay? And he took the coach under his wing and trained him, and he's taken over, and that locker room, and there's a reason they kept Udonis Haslem around till he was 74 years old. Because Udonis was like the judge. Nobody was doing anything in that locker room. When Jimmy Butler misbehaved last year, Haslem nearly killed him. And on most teams, when you go after the best player, something happens to you. With the Heat, Spo and the organization looked at Jimmy Butler and said, you better apologize to Udonis, and we'll ship your ass out of here. Don't think we won't.
It is remarkable that the best player got into a fight with the last man on the bench, and the last man on the bench is the one that holds all the cards.
Exactly. And the next day, Jimmy Butler went, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. My bad. Miller and Moulton. Final hour of the show. Next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks, Jim.
I agree, Jim. You know, I'm surprised that the Blades coach hasn't gotten an A job somewhere. Like, who was it who just, Bill Guerin just fired his whole AHL staff because he inherited them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he let them play out their contracts and got rid of them. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten a gig. I think it probably hurt him when they lost their affiliation. And so he had to start anew with a new affiliation. But
Why do we love Brian Ellis?
because he gets on base.
Bingo.
They have lost two crushers in the last 8 days, though. 2 weekends ago, they had a 3 or 4 run ninth inning lead on the road and lost. And then Wednesday night at FIU, they took a 4-2 lead in the top of the 11th and gave up 3 in the bottom of the 11th and lost 5-4. I don't think they can get an at-large unless they finish really strong. I mean, they're going to have to finish at least 10-5. They're 29-11, 15 games left. You got to, if you don't win the conference, you got to have 40 plus wins to get an at-large.
Are they still top 25 or no?
No, they won't be when the polls come out today. Because they had dropped out of one poll and they were 24th or 25th in the other, but then they went 2-2 last week. So They won't be ranked. But the ranking doesn't count, Felipe. It's their RPI is like nearly 60.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour along the network anyway, in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We're just halfway home in the 239. And by the way, Jason Cole, to talk plenty of NFL, will join us to start the bonus hour for those in the 239. But David Dwork, talk a little Panthers in 20 minutes. Tony Fiorentino, as we pick back up on the Heat with a golden opportunity tonight, up 2-1. Despite being the walking wounded franchise that they are. Don't know if Giannis is playing. Don't know if Jimmy's Butler's playing. We're guessing they both will, but, I mean, who knows? I mean, Kawhi missed the last 2 games for the Clippers. I mean, it's Ja Morant sat out a game. I mean, this has been a crazy playoff so far with injuries to star players so far in the NBA. But Tony Fiorentino in a little more than 35 minutes.
Did you happen to see any of the Colorado spring game? Any of the highlights? Any of the Prime show?
I just saw Prime's outfit, in which apparently he's going to do more for the cowboy hat since Larry Hagman on Dallas. I mean, apparently people love the look.
He went to the 50-yard line and took a bow before the game.
And you and I love Dion. Love him.
Sold more spring tickets than they have like in the last 11 spring games combined. They've sold out of season tickets. Their allotment for season tickets for the first time since 1996.
Correct. People forget Colorado was really good in the 90s. Won a national championship and everything. I love him. Listen, if you're a Florida State fan, you're hoping he has great success in Colorado, because then he'll be the guy whenever it's time and you can bring him back home.
Although the guy right now is getting it done recruiting.
Yes, he is.
Every day that goes on, it seems that they're signing another player or getting another commitment.
Yep, they're doing really well. And they seem to have their NIL act together. And have you seen the big news involving NIL? Our buddy John Ruiz is having a tough time of it in the business world. And as of this morning, his company, what's it called? Like Life Wallet?
Life Wallet, Nerd Wallet.
So apparently they're on NASDAQ, and you can't go 30 days in a row trading at under $1. And they closed Friday at 73 cents. And that was 30 days. So apparently you get delisted. They like give you a warning, I guess it's like soccer regulation. We're sending you relegation. We're sending you down. So apparently also they didn't release their financials for fourth quarter last year. So he's got like 6 weeks to A, get the stock price up over $1, B, come up with all the paperwork. And if he can't do it, then, well, they're going to disappear, at least from NASDAQ. And that's not going to help their, their business succeed.
No.
Right.
That means you're on the sharp decline.
Correct. Apparently, the company's value has lost 93% in the last year. I don't know. That doesn't seem to be good for University of Miami athletic department. Am I missing something?
Really seems to be bad.
I mean, granted, you and I, just a couple of yahoos, Just trying to pay attention, reading our stories.
Well, and we're excited. We see a John Ruiz who's got all this money, and he's going to invest it where? In the University of Miami Athletics. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, gave money to the Cavender twins. Miami women's team goes to the Elite Eight for the first time ever. We're excited. Great. Awesome. Wait, what? He's out of money? What do you mean he's out of money? What are you talking about? He's a billionaire. He's got this company. It's trading on NASDAQ. Yeah, have you seen what it's trading for? What? 73 cents. What? Apparently the Canes starting quarterback is like trying to figure out what he's doing. And apparently it involves NIL.
Well, of course it does. That's the world that we live in.
I know, but it's the final week of April. I mean, we've had the spring
portal
games and everything.
The portal just reopened, David. I don't know if you're aware.
Market. Does it ever close?
By the way, and if you're referring to Tyler Van Dyke, he really hasn't done anything else to improve his chances on getting more NIL deals on the football field.
I understand that. But have you seen the Alabama quarterbacks in their spring game? They were horrendous. Completed less than 50% of their passes, threw multiple interceptions. And Nick Saban was not politically correct after the game. In fact, Nick Saban out loud said, well, we may have to look at bringing somebody else in here. He praised the third and fourth string freshmen who are there for the first time. He said, they look good.
You know what's amazing is that if you did that in the NFL, there's a tampering period. You can't, there's no tampering in college. There's no rules against tampering. Nothing Nick said was illegal.
Well, he didn't say we may have to look at bringing Tyler Van Dyke in.
I got you, but we may have to look at bringing someone in, David.
Right.
There's no more recruits to bring in. He's talking about a transfer.
Yes.
He basically got to the microphone and said, hey, every quarterback in the country, I don't know if you're aware. My name's Nick Saban. I'm the head coach at the University of Alabama. We've been pretty good for a while. I don't know. There's this Bryce Young guy. He's going to go first overall. If you would like to go first overall, there may be an opening here.
Listen, our last four quarterbacks have gone in the first, and second rounds. We're just saying, if you'd like to play here. Not only was I think he talking to Tyler Van Dyke, I think he was also throwing an olive branch out to Arch Manning, who, by the way, may be listed third on the depth chart. I mean, Quinn Ewers is without question the number one quarterback in Texas. But so far, according to those who cover the team and watch the spring game, there's another freshman who came in with Arch, and that guy's outplaying him. Now, take it for what it's will. And let me tell you, if you're Steve Sarkisian, Mark, I mean, you think you and I have tough decisions to make on a daily basis, like Coke or Pepsi, coffee or tea, nap or play golf. I mean,
right. Earth-shattering decisions.
Tough stuff. You're Steve Sarkisian. God forbid something happens to Quinn Ewers. Who are you going to put in the game? I mean, once again, guys know, if you're outplaying me, Mark, it should not matter that apparently I was a hotshot recruit. The guys are going to look at the coach and go, why the hell is Miller not in the game? Moulton's, have you been watching practice? But never mind the whole, recruiting thing and what have you. I mean, can he really list Arch as his number 3 quarterback?
Well, there was reports out there before Arch ever entered college that he had at least a star and a half extra added to his name because of his name.
Well, there are a lot of people that feel that's going on with Bronny, LeBron's kid, who went from a 3 to a 5-star in the last few months. Funny how that works. But, I mean, maybe Nick's just saying, hey, I'm not married to these guys. These guys haven't done squat for me. I mean, if I'm going to, throw them out with the trash, Rather do it now. So anyway, it's spring football. Take it for what it's worth. But just getting back to the John Ruiz thing. I mean, the company's lost 93% of its value. It's trading at 73 cents. It's about to be delisted from the NASDAQ. I don't know. That seems problematic to me.
And certainly, if you're a Canes football fan or a Canes fan in general, you've got to be thinking to yourselves, again?
Right. Not surprised. Who saw this coming?
This is where you want to go to Radakovich there, who came in from Clemson. Please tell me you lined up some other NIL people, right? Please help me. John Ruiz got us through 2022, but you're all set, right? I mean, you've been lining others up, correct? I mean, because the word is there are not 10 programs in the country better at the transfer portal in men's basketball than the Canes right now. And I don't mean who they're bringing in this year. I'm just talking about the last 2 years and how they've turned over their roster and how, quite frankly, they paid certain guys and got them. And it's all legal. All the stuff that got them on probation before is all legal.
But if there's no money,
right,
then there's no players.
Don't we have to call Uncle Luke back? Don't we have to bring him back now?
Different money now. You had the money guy. You had the legit money guy. He's going in the tank with his business.
Uncle Luke's got money.
Not that kind of money.
Well, he knows people. Okay, he'd do it. If you brought him back, he'd line him up.
He's going to need to make another album.
And it's not going to sell.
Just saying. He knows. I think Uncle Luke can get people to say yes. Kind of like Udonis Haslem, keeping the Heat players in the locker room in line. I think you bring Uncle Luke into the fray. We'll take care of NIL. What are you doing? I'm hiring Uncle Luke.
Yeah, I think that's a stretch to say the very least. Right. It's funny, but it's a stretch to say the very least.
It worked on me.
Yeah, this is Fortune 500 company time. It's not Uncle Luke time.
Mark, I don't know about you. Cash in a brown paper bag always works.
Always works for the two of us, which is why, well, we're in the position that we're in right now.
Are you insinuating that between the two of us, we don't have a portfolio? Is that what you're insinuating?
We might have a brown paper bag somewhere. Nothing's in it, David, but we have the bag in case someone wanted to give us cash.
Now, our daughters, their brown paper bag is loaded. Ours, not so much.
We'll find out how much money David Dwork's got in a brown paper bag. He's going to talk Florida Panthers with us next. Tony Fiorentino to talk Heat later this hour, and Jason Cole in the bonus hour to talk NFL right here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Logic Man, it's kind of unbelievable that he went from, I mean, he's always been a playmaker. He's always had that in his arsenal, but just he went from a Kobe Bryant, I'm taking every shot, averaging 35 a game, to a legitimate point guard. I'm talking passing, playmaking point guard. But again, he's always had that in his arsenal. Remember him and Clint Capella?
How long would you get that, Sled? That's a pretty good bet.
E-ball Paul. I love that nickname, Paul Reed.
Mello, take it easy. Okay. Randall's hurt. But the Knicks are deeper. There's no doubt.
David's on hold. We're back in 30.
No, Melo, he's not. Give me a break. He's going to be second team or third team All NBA this year.
Facts.
Two of his last 3 years with the Knicks, he's going to make an All NBA team.
He's done more than Zion.
And not only that, he's only making like 24, 25 million a year, which
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Tony Fiorentino in a little more than 15 minutes time. We'll gear up for the Heat. How about them? Up 2-1 against Milwaukee. Game 4 tonight. Meanwhile, it was just 72 hours ago we were saying, how about them Panthers? Giving the Bruins all they can handle. Boston said, hold my beer. It's 3-1 Bruins. Game 5 is Wednesday. David Dwork covers the Panthers. He does so for Channel 10, WPLG in Miami, the hockey news, and he hosts a podcast. It's called Chirping the Cats. Chirping the Cats. Follow David on Twitter, David Dwork, DWORK. David, it's David and Mark. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Morning, gentlemen. Happy Monday.
All right. Besides the obvious, so what happened? I mean, the Panthers had won 4 of the 6 periods in games 1 and 2. Boston's without their top 2 centers. I mean, losing's one thing, but they got whooped. What happened?
Boston happened, I guess. We saw the first 2 games in Boston, what the Panthers really needed to do to succeed. And basically, I think Matthew Tkachuk said it last week. They basically have to play perfect hockey. They have to stay out of the penalty box. They can't turn the puck over. They have to stay within their systems. And falling behind to the Bruins is kind of a recipe for disaster in that regard, and that's what they've done in every game. Game 2 was the outlier. They had that great third period. They took the lead late and controlled the game, and every other game you've seen Boston go ahead. You've seen Boston kind of grind out and continue to expand, and the Panthers just open their game up more and more, and it all kind of came together at the end of Game 4 last night when you saw, I guess, everybody on the ice was dropping the gloves and fighting because there wasn't really much else that happened at that point. So, yeah, the Panthers, as you said, a couple of days ago, everything felt much different. They had that big win in Game 2, and there was hope everlasting. And now it's, clinging to every last hope you can find because they're going back to Boston down 3-1. They have to win 3 straight games against the President's Trophy winners, and that certainly is not going to be easy.
Well, and we talked about it before the series, David. We said they've got to play as much 5-on-5 hockey as is humanly possible, and they've really been unable to do that. And trying to get into a special teams war with the Bruins is a war that not many teams are going to win, is it?
No, and you said it right there. I mean, I think their power play goal yesterday came on their 10th or 11th power play opportunity of the series. I think they were like 0 for 9 when they finally broke through, and at that point, it's a little too late. You're dealing with a Boston team that was first in the league in so many categories, including special teams. Their power play was extremely potent. Their penalty kill was sticky as hell. They shut you down really well, as we've seen them do to the Panthers. And basically, the Panthers told us the blueprint for success, to steal a Dale Talon term from a decade ago. They told us what had to happen for them to succeed. And we've seen bits and pieces of it, but we've also seen them not do that. We've seen them go to the penalty box. We've seen them open up their game, and 3-1 down is the result.
David, let's assume what is most likely, that not only are they going to lose this series, but the likelihood is they're going to lose Wednesday. I mean, the Bruins lost at home like twice this year or what in regulation. And what are the odds the Panthers can win 2 games in a row in Boston? So let's just assume this thing ends quickly. What's going to happen with the Panthers? They made major changes after winning the President's Trophy and getting to the second round of the playoffs last year. I mean, what's plan B?
I don't necessarily think that we'd have to see a plan B this offseason. This season was going to be a challenge I've spoken to members of the front office throughout the season, just, candidly around the rinks and the hallways. And everybody is kind of known that this year was going to be tough because they were going to have all the dead cap money that they had to deal with. They knew that they were going to be constrained when Anthony Duclair came off LTIR eventually. It kind of, I don't want to say it worked out because you never want to say that about an injury, but the whole Patrick Hornquist thing, they had a whole mess of obstacles to overcome this season. And they knew that. Now you go into an offseason where they're going to have money to spend. Bill Zito's going to be able to have a little bit more flexibility. He's going to be able to build the depth that made them as good as they were last year. That's something that they struggled with this year. So I think this season was, maybe a one-off compared to what we could see over the next few years, just because this team is built to succeed. They've got a lot of guys locked up long-term, a lot of their core. My main concern moving forward with the team really is going to be goaltending, just because they've got so much money tied up into the position, and they really haven't seen much of an ROI at all on that money. Between Sergei Bobrovsky's massive $10 million a year contract that's still got another 3 years left after this season, you got Spencer Knight, who, super young, talented, but, a bit of a question mark right now just because we don't know what his situation is. We don't know how he's going to come back when he comes out of the league system that he's in. So that's the biggest question mark. I think big picture, the team is going to be okay if they can get some consistent goaltending. But in terms of their roster and moving forward, I think that there's still a lot of upside for this team outside of this season. This was a tough year, but I do think that this is still a team that's built to succeed for the next several years. The main thing would be, as I said, just figuring out the goaltending situation.
Well, and I think they figured it out the second half of the season, David. I'm with you. I mean, I think there's a reason to be more glass half full than glass half empty with this team. But the problem is the Bruins, right? I mean, when you run into the historically best team that's ever played, it's easy to poke holes in the Panthers right now when, in fact, maybe the holes aren't as big as we think.
Yeah, definitely. Like, going against Boston is going to expose a lot of those issues and make them seem a bit more glaring just because Boston takes advantage of so much. If they would have had a first-round matchup, say, whether it would have been Carolina or New Jersey, you'd think that it would be maybe a little bit more competitive just in terms of Boston being so good and Florida having to play their A game. So, yeah, that's going to, if it does play out the way that it kind of looks like it's going to play out in Boston, it's going to look like a much quicker exit than maybe it could have with this team. They did get much better as the year went on in the second half, and down the stretch, they started to figure out how to play the style that Paul Maurice wants them to play, and you're seeing the results. They ran into a buzzsaw with this Boston team, and really any team would have that trouble. It'll be interesting to see who, if anyone, gives Boston trouble down the stretch, assuming the series ends in the next game or two. But yeah, this is not a bad Panthers team. And, as I said, I think this is a team that's going to be good for the next few years still.
David, we always appreciate your time and your insight, particularly at the hour that we ask. Safe travels to Boston, and hope we can talk again soon.
Gentlemen, have a great day and a great week.
David Dwork covers the Panthers, Channel 10, WPLG in Miami. He also covers them for the Hockey News, and he does a podcast on the Panthers called Chirping the Cats. Follow David on Twitter, David Dwork, DWORK.
The Hockey News. Used to be, the Hockey News, Sports Illustrated. These magazines would show up at your doorstep and just be the end-all, be-all.
The Sporting News. Honestly. Hottest neighborhood girl could come over and knock on the door. It'd be like, Sharon McCann, I'm sorry. The Sporting News just arrived. I'll get to you in, 2-3 days. I've got some reading to do. Thank you.
There are old box scores in here that I'm going to have to really dig into.
Exactly. That Mets-Phillies game last Tuesday. How did that actually play out? Yep.
How different would this postseason have been if the Panthers get the last game of the regular season? You talked about this, David. They played that game against Carolina and got beat. Who knows?
Well, they would have got Jersey.
Right.
Jersey would have won the division. Carolina would be playing the Rangers, and Jersey would be playing the Panthers. And the Islanders would be playing the Bruins. And Boston would have already have swept them. Once again, the Bruins are up 3-1. They basically played over half the series without David Krejci, their number 2 center, and they played the whole series without Patrice Bergeron. I mean, Elite centers are tough to find. They got 2 of them. They're not playing. They're winning. This is remarkable, too. They did not do much in the offseason. They got bounced in what? First round of the playoffs last year by Carolina. They fired their coach. You know, a couple of the older guys walked away. The goalie walked away. A defenseman walked away. This is remarkable. You know, it's also remarkable, the Miami Heat. We'll talk about them next.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Nice.
Well, first off, candor relief, does Chelios like anybody? That's an honest question. Do we think Chelios likes anybody? I actually think PK is pretty good on TV. And as for what he wears, he dressed that way as a player. I would hope he would dress that way on ESPN. I'll say this. They're trying with their studio show. I think a lot more than they are in their NBA studio show. I mean, Messier's poked fun at himself. Messier has brought up things that he said last year. I mean, I actually think they're trying. Adding Subban to the show. Their play-by-play guys are not good, though. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, but their main show is PK, Messier, and Chelios, with Levy as the host. I mean, that's who you judge it by.
David, probably what day's better for you, tomorrow or Wednesday? I want to test my StreamYard stuff out to make sure everything I have is working right for Friday. I just want to hook up with you, make sure you can hear me and all that kind of stuff. Because if you can hear me, then in theory, this will hear me.
Oh, how about you do it whatever day is better for you? Because both my, like when the, do you mean like right after the show?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, I have a noon tomorrow and I have nothing on Wednesday.
Let's do it on Wednesday then.
Okay. I think Carter is TNT. Yeah, but I mean, TNT's Kenny Albert, who I think's okay. But they have John Forsland as their number 2 play-by-play guy. John Forsland is tremendous. And ESPN's got Sean McDonough and John Buccigross. I mean,
shut up. Your kid is not that great. Is it about what I think it's about?
I think so. I don't know if we're going to get around to any football once I found that out. But getting back to RCB, I mean, think about it. The Bruins fired Bruce Cassidy, made the playoffs 7 straight years.
Coach Tony Fiorentino is on hold.
And he goes to Vegas, and they have the most points in the West.
We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. He goes back to the very beginning with the Heat as a broadcaster and an assistant coach. He's Tony Fiorentino. Follow him on Twitter, Tony Heat WC3X, Tony Heat WC3X. Tony, it's David and Mark. We thank you for doing this once again. How are you?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Well, we're doing well. I'm going to ask a simple question in its wording. And since you have been around the Heat for all 35 years, can you tell us what exactly is the Heat culture? Because clearly it's different than most everyone else's attempt at culture in pro sports. And we're clearly seeing it on display right now. But Tony, people like Miller and Moulton, we don't know what the heck it is.
Well, it's funny you ask because I'm speaking to about 50 business people today at noon. And the main question is, what is Heat culture? And what's interesting about it is there's people in the business, highly profiled guys on TV that announce and do studio work, and they discount it. They make fun of Heat culture. And it just goes to show you that they don't totally understand what's going on in Miami. For example, part of Heat culture is having a guy like Udonis Haslem, knowing that he's not going to play that much because he's beyond his years as a contributor. He helped win 3 championships down here. But his value to the organization was like a spokesman for the like an go-between between the players and the coaches, where it's more important when he says something to the players than the coaches say it. So the Heat have given up that 15th spot in the last 3-4 years, so that Udonis can give those intangibles in the locker room, on the court, by example about how hard he works. And so they go beyond the normal approach to how you develop a basketball team. And that's one great example right there. I think it's hard to put in a nutshell what the culture is. Basically, everyone's on the same page. Nobody cares who scores or who does what with their own statistics. The only thing that matters is the W. Now, that sounds very simplistic, but there are a lot of teams where in pro sports and any sport where guys are selfish. They want to get theirs. They're out to get a better contract. So they have agents and they have people around them tell them they got to go for themselves because the numbers are going to speak and all of that stuff. And that doesn't happen with the Heat. When they lose, they don't point fingers. They take the blame themselves. There's accountability. There's a work ethic that you have to accept when you come here to Miami. Not every player in the NBA wants to work hard. They don't want to go to work every day and have to earn, their status. And so that's all part of it. And when Coach Spoelstra says next man up, he means next man up. So, and to put that in practical terms, when guys go down, like the Heat are down now, 2 guards coming into the game tonight, that all year long, when they've had guys out, all Spoelstra did was go to the next guy in line and play him. And that gives them confidence. It gives them experience. Some coaches may take 3 or 4 of their starters and play them 45 minutes in a game to make up for the players they're missing. The Heat doesn't do that. They develop the other guys during the season. Maybe you take a loss or 2 during the year, but in the end, it helps you out because guys are ready to contribute when you need them to. And, you look at Duncan Robinson as a perfect example. Udonis Haslem has a saying that don't get ready, stay ready. So when the coach calls on you, will you be ready to contribute? And look at Duncan Robinson every day. I see it when I go to the arena and see him working hard. He may not play in the game, but he's out there working 15, 20 minutes of just doing a lot of different drills, running around, going. You would think he's starting in the game. So it's really a combination of a lot of things, guys. And if you pull it all together, it's and it starts at the top with the Arrisons, Mickey and Nick Arison and Pat Riley, and then it filters down into the rest of the organization, not just the basketball side, but also in the business side.
And on the basketball side, no one like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler on the basketball side, getting it done in ways that only he can, because the performance he put up in the last game, obviously heroic, and then he gets banged up in that game. But right now, as long as he's healthy, it's amazing what Jimmy Butler's been able to accomplish.
Yeah, he's doing Dwayne Wade-like things that we were accustomed to seeing from Dwayne Wade, especially in the Dallas series and the championship series in 2006, where he was down 0-2 and Wade averaged almost 39 points a game in the 4 wins after that. Jimmy Butler does that. And there's another example of what you could use as a Heat culture, where last year Jimmy misses the shot with about 7-8 seconds left, 10 seconds left in the game 7 in Miami. He makes the shot, in all likelihood he'd go to the finals. And a few weeks later, his agent calls him and tells him, and starts to tell him that, you made second team all, and right in the middle of the sentence, Jimmy hangs up on him because he didn't care. He was still upset he missed the shot, didn't get to the finals. That's all that mattered to him. The individual accolade that he didn't care about. And that's what the Heat's all about. They don't care about any of that stuff. And Jimmy's the leader of that. And again, it's like that's what Dwayne Wade was like. Dwayne Wade made sacrifices when LeBron came, told LeBron it was his team, and that's when the team took off. And had to play second fiddle to LeBron in a lot of ways, which helped the team win championships. So Jimmy's doing the same thing as far as leading the team and showing them the way to succeed.
Tony Fiorentino, legendary Heat broadcaster, also an assistant coach with the franchise. Follow him on Twitter, Tony Heat WC3X, Tony Heat WC3X. Can they actually steal this series? Let's assume Giannis is going to play from here on out. Can they get 2 more?
Well, the way they're shooting threes, I think it comes down to, I think what the Heat, it's always come down to 2 things, defense and three-point shooting. Because the last year they led the league in three-point shooting percentage. This year they were near the bottom for the season. And for a lot of reasons, some of it you can't even figure out why every player was down from last year. Doesn't make much sense. But part of it is because they've had injuries, they've had different lineups, all those different nuances. And so if they're shooting 50% from the three-point line in the 3 games, best in the NBA of all the teams in the playoffs. They're leading the NBA in offense output, in points per game. And so it's like you couldn't predict this, but there were times during the season where the Heat were totally dominant. So the question you're asking is a good one. Can they do this 4 times out of 7 games? Now, I think, in my own opinion, that in game 1 when Giannis got hurt, I think there was a good chance the Heat would have won that game anyway because of the way they shot the three. Shot 60% from the three-point line. And you could see right away the body language and the energy and all that stuff. So it's going to remain to be seen if Giannis plays tonight, if he's going to be 100%. And, the Heat have a history of beating Milwaukee with Giannis in the lineup. And they beat them, they beat him twice during the regular season without him in the lineup, but now it's 3, and both games are in Miami. So you're asking a very good question. Can they sustain the offensive output that they've been having? But it all starts at the defensive end where they were really contesting a lot of shots that the Bucks were taking early in the game. And they did a real good job of containing Lopez, who really killed them in the early part of game 2. He must have had like 12 points in like the first 4 minutes of the game, 5 minutes of the game, just scoring easy ones inside. And so I think by starting Love, it's interesting. You get killed in game 2 by Bucks' 3-point shooting. They made I think it was 25 threes in game 2. And so some people were anticipating that Coach Spoelstra would go with a guard, start another perimeter player to offset the 3-point shooting. Instead, he started Love. And that made the matchup with Portis and Lopez a little better. And then that filtered into playing better perimeter defense. So the nuance of doing something like that, the way you change during the series can change the complexion of the series. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup tonight. Obviously, they're going to be desperate. They don't want to go down 3-1 because they know they're going to have to win a game in Miami if they do that to win the series. If they tie the game tonight, then they got to feel good because 2 out of the last 3 are in Milwaukee. Becomes a 2 out of 3 after that. So this is going to be a very interesting game tonight.
Is there something to attribute how well they're shooting the 3 ball? Is the Bucks defense sloppy? Are they just now finding shots? Because as you pointed out, they did not shoot the 3 ball all that well this year. And in the playoffs, they've been amazing. Has there been something that you've noticed differently?
Well, it didn't make sense during the season in one sense that it seemed like the Heat were getting some of the same shots they had gotten last year, but they weren't burying them. They were very streaky that way. And some of their best shooters would play in a game and go 5 for 7 from the 3, and then the next game go 1 for 8, things like that. That was very unusual compared to last year. And so now they're making shots that they're working a little harder to get open. They're setting maybe better screens or harder screens. Maybe they're coming off those screens a little better, getting a little more open. Milwaukee likes to defend the 3-point line and the paint. They're best in the league at doing those. I don't have the stats for that, but the stats show that. And going into the series, the approach from people evaluating the series was saying that the Heat had to make their mid-range shots because Milwaukee's going to take away the 3 and take away the inside game. And so far, the Heat have shot the 3 real well, and the other night they scored well in the paint because Jimmy gets into the paint at will. And so sometimes it's not easy to figure out, but I think when you're committed to something now, the Heat are on a roll. The momentum is on their side, but that can change in one game. So I know Milwaukee's been there. They won a championship a few years ago. They're very well coached. They got a couple of all-stars. They're very, very good. Their bench was not very good the other night. Their bench was outstanding in Game 2. And the other night, the Heat's bench totally outscored 3 guys scoring over 15 apiece in Game 3. So we'll see what happens tonight with the three-point shooting. Are they going to get some of the same shots? And if they don't, can you manufacture offense in other ways?
Well, and the Bucks in the last 2 years have won many a big road playoff games when they've been down in a series. Heat up 2-1, underdogs again tonight, Game 4 in Miami, 7:30 on TNT. Tony, I hope we served as a primer for your business speech. I hope we got you going.
Yeah, we talked about this when the Heat were going into the playing games. I said, I hope I'm talking to you guys during the first round. So let's see if this is the impetus they need, from an intangible point of view, and then maybe we'll be talking in the next round.
And hope the speech is better than the chicken and salad you're going to get. Okay.
I got you,
Tony. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Tony Fiorentino, Tony Heat WC3X is how you follow him on Twitter. Longtime broadcaster, also an assistant coach on a couple of occasions with the Heat. And Mark, you and he hit on it. The Heat are averaging 124 points a game, which even in 2023 NBA is a lot. Also, they shot 60, 54, and 54% in the first 3 games, and they're shooting 50% from the arc. Now, remember, I said coming in, I didn't think Miami could take advantage of it, but that the Bucks defense in the final 4 to 6 weeks of the season had let them down. Well, the Heat are hitting their shots because they can get them against this team. This team's slow.
Yeah, the Heat are, as Tony said, during the season, there were games when they didn't bury their looks. Here's Duncan Rob. What do you go, 5 of 6 from beyond the arc in the last game?
Yes. Which, by the way, the Oladipo injury gives him more minutes.
It does. It does. And listen, he's got it in him. He hasn't produced it for 2 years, but he's got it in him.
I mean, he's being paid $90 million to have it in him.
So
right?
If all of a sudden the 2020 and 2021 Duncan Robinson shows up, the Heat are going to win this series.
That would be something.
It would be. It'd be a stagger in the modern day NBA to have an 8 beat a 1 and the one at the best record in the league. Yeah.
Can the Heat get it done tonight and try to take a 3-1 lead in the series? Asking the same question about Tampa Bay. Can they even up the series with Toronto? Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte. The bonus hour with Jason Cole is next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps. Have a photo and a smile and using the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website, golfcarts.com, and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How do you spell Cohn and David Cohn? Is it Coan?
C-O-N-E.
Or C-O-N-E, yeah.
Hmm. Might be the best title of a book of a guest we've ever had.
Ever. Ever.
I'm going to introduce him by saying we brought you on to talk about the NFL. I don't know if we're going to get to it. Can we talk about your book? Those are big box stores and malls, though, man. I don't know how they ever get filled up again.
What, Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yeah.
Jason's on hold. We're back in 10.
Thank you.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with our final thoughts and predictions on tonight's games coming up in about 40 minutes' time. We've been honored to have this gentleman on the show previously, Jason Cole, and every time we've brought him on, it's been to talk about the NFL. He's covered it for a long time. He's a Hall of Fame voter. I don't know if we're going to get to the NFL today because he has written his 7th book titled Shut Up, Your Kid Is Not That Great. Jason, thanks for joining us. Was this sitting in the stands at one youth sporting event to money? Where did this come from?
Oh, this is sitting in the stands, coaching games, watching parents at NFL practices, listening to parents, listening to stories from executives in the music industry about dealing with moms who wanted to be managers and producers. This is talking to all sorts of people about the background of how they raised their kids, whether that was good, which is the case of Tom Brady Sr., who helped me write the introduction, or not so good, like Drew Henson and his father Dan, who sort of mismanaged his promising career from Michigan when he was both a prodigy in baseball and in football. So there's a lot of life experience in this one. I got to tell you that.
And, you know, as a father of 2 kids and having watched a lot of the parenting, I'm guessing there could be a version 2, 3, 4, and 5. Seems like this one could continue to write itself, Jason.
It's going to be an annual version. I'm going to update it every year. So it's look, I always tell people, this is not a shot at actual kids. This is a shot at how parents handle their kids. And what I always say is putting your dreams in your kid, your dreams of how you would live your life on your kid rather than letting them figure out what their dreams are. And that's how I always look at this. So shut up. Yeah, your kid's not that great. Let them enjoy their life and just drive their passion in whatever they're doing, but stay out of the way. That's how I like to say it.
It's his 7th book. It's available on Amazon. I believe it's also available in Barnes & Noble, and it's very, very modestly priced. So shut up. Your kid is not that great. Jason Cole. It's the 7th book that he has authored. Your take, by the way, Friday, the NFL, we get the whole, listen, you can't gamble on the league, period, end of sentence. That's a year suspension. We get that. The whole, you can place a legal bet, you just can't do it on our property. Does that pass the legal smell test? I mean, could that be upheld if somebody sued?
Probably. Depends on if it's, look, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know exactly, but nobody's fighting it. Now, the people who got fired, these staff employees with the Lions, they might have some grounds to sue, but it depends on, are you running an office pool where you hand out a sheet and everybody puts in their sheet on what their favorite games are for the week, or were you doing something more sophisticated? And there are always levels within this, right? There's always the office pool that you got 12, 15, maybe 20 people involved in every week. And, maybe you're throwing in $20 each or something like that. And that's fairly innocent. But then then it can get out of hand really quickly. And I've seen both. I've seen lots of, sports media types who get into serious gambling in a hurry, even at a workplace. And that's where you sit there and go, okay, there's a line here. I'm not exactly sure how I define that line, but I can feel that line exists. And that's what you need to know. Those are the details that we're not quite sure about here.
I wonder how much of them we'll get, and how widespread do you think this is, Jason? I mean, obviously 2 teams were caught for this. Is this something that's going on in a lot more locker rooms than we think?
Yeah. I mean, look, I would say that 30 to 40% of people involved in the NFL gamble in some way, shape, or form. Some of that is serious. Okay. Like they're putting hundreds, if not thousands, on games. I know that exists. Okay. I know that there are high stakes card games that go on among players all the time, especially when they're traveling. They'll go, to a hotel room, on the road, or they'll gamble on the plane, whatever they're going to do. I know that stuff happens, right? And then there are, again, what do you call that? The confidence pool, where you rate your games 1 through 16 or 1 through 12 every week, depending on how many games there are.
Right.
And, again, you throw in $5, $10, $20 or whatever it happens to be every week. And, a high score wins it all, or, whatever it happens to be. It's not a lot of money. Okay. There's a lot of stuff like that exists. So if you put the various ranges of what constitutes gambling, and let's not include fantasy football anymore, which was considered gambling by the league 20 years ago, right? But if you just have that, I'm saying 30 to 40% do something involved in games, because this is the profile. I mean, it's young men involved in sports, even older men involved in sports. That's your preponderance of NFL employees. You don't think they're going to gamble? Yeah, they're going to gamble. Depends on how serious it is.
And especially since it's now legal in over 30 states. So what was once illegal virtually everywhere is now legal in more places than not. He's Jason Cole, longtime NFL writer. He's a Hall of Fame voter. He's just authored his 7th book, Shut Up, Your Kid Is Not That Great. It's available at Amazon. Follow Jason on Twitter, Jason Cole 62, Jason Cole 62. Listen, you've been around the league a while. Can we draft a 5'10" quarterback number 1 overall? I mean, he's skilled. He's accurate. He's terrific. This has never really worked before, has it? Drafting this high. Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick at about 5'10.5". I mean, Jason, this is.
Drew Brees was the number 1 pick of the 2nd round the year that he came out, and Drew's barely 6 feet tall, if he is.
Right.
It's the construct of your team are you willing to do things that will either move him around to keep him out of harm's way and open up passing lanes, which is what Seattle did with Russell Wilson, or do you construct a pocket using your guards and your center as your primary offensive lineman, rather than not worry as much about your offensive tackles, which is what New Orleans did. If you go in with a short quarterback, you have to have a plan to solve how it works, right? And so you can do this. Taking it number 1, there's a lot of risk to it. But if the kid can play, the kid can play, and you just have to work the solution. It's sort of like, the flip side of this is you have Bryce Young, who has played very sophisticated, high-level football from the time that he was in high school, all the way through Alabama, right? He went to a very advanced high school program at Mater Dei in California, then went to Alabama, threw a lot of footballs, was ready to play, played in some very high pressure games, very smart kid, very smart when it comes to football, specifically, right? So you have that combination versus, okay, do you take Anthony Richardson, which is the flip side of what you're talking about, which is the big strapping athlete who has not played sophisticated football at the high school level. And I know this because my kids went to the same high school and I know that program very well. And, had two different coaches and didn't play a lot at Florida, only threw 393 passes in his college career. If you're drafting only on size, you end up with Anthony Richardson, who I think needs at least a year, if not 2 years, of just sitting on the bench and learning how to play the game because he just hasn't had that much work playing quarterback, whether he can play or not. So they're in a dilemma. But Bryce Young is the most complete and ready NFL quarterback today, and you have to buy into that with the number 1 overall pick.
This S2 test that apparently CJ Stroud did really poorly on, not just badly, really poorly. How much of a red flag is that going to be in NFL front offices right now?
Well, based on what I know, and I know the guys at S2, and I know the value of what S2 is, and Brock Purdy last year, who kind of came out of nowhere as Mr. Irrelevant, literally, and did a really nice job. Tested off the charts on S2's cognitive ability, and I've talked to the guys who run S2. I think it is a huge red flag if guys don't have the cognitive quickness to play that position. And there are other guys who tested very poorly. Mitch Trubisky tested very poorly on that. Now, I don't know if the test, I don't know if Bryce Young's test score is accurate. That's the one thing I question. But I do know other guys who tested poorly on it, and it does impact them. Like if you have a test grade in that's in the 60s, there's an upper limitation how great you're going to be in this, likelihood. But having said that, it's not the only measure of how do you make it as a quarterback, and it's not the only method, because you can be trained to do a lot of the things that this cognitive test tries to indicate. Where are you right now in your cognitive ability? You can gain some of that over time, but having a pure score like 98 that Bryce Young has shows that you are as ready as you can possibly be.
He's a great writer, not just of the NFL. He's authored 7 books. His latest, Shut Up, Your Kid Is Not That Great, available at Amazon and elsewhere. Follow him on Twitter, Jason Cole 62. He's Jason Cole. Jason, continue.
If you got friends who are parents or about to become parents,
definitely
get them this book. Get them this book.
A Mother's Day and Father's Day gift. Shut Up, Your Kid Is Not That Great. Jason, thanks so much. Be well.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Jason Cole, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Buying 12 copies and bringing them to practice tonight, David. That's all I know. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I just love the fact they made that the title of the book. I think that's awesome.
Great.
Shut up. Your kid's not that great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love the fact he laughs. When he hears the title of his own book, he starts laughing.
Yep. Oh, and Mongo, it's I think it's a bad rap because there's a lot of I trust me, I think there's a lot of women that know softball better than their husbands, or baseball better than their husbands, but it is just something. When I coach a base, I end up just trying to listen to the parents. That's all I do, is just listen to what they're saying and laugh.
So apparently the ESPN layoffs have started.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Apparently this week's not on air talent. Not this week.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past 9. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Also, the bonus hour. All right. We'll have a guest. All right. Mark Dominic, former Bucks general manager. He will join us top of the 9 o'clock hour tomorrow. So we get into this whole draft thing. We hear it's a big deal. People like it. Just saying.
Whatever you do, don't move it to Thursday night. That'll never work.
Dumb idea. Keep it at 10 to noon on Saturday. That's when it should start. It should go all day. This primetime thing, this is stupid. Don't know if we've ever been more wrong about anything, and man, are we wrong a lot.
We have, I'm sure, but it's the one that sticks in our head the most because the Thursday night draft is a game changer for the league.
Yeah, and Friday
on the road. I mean, think about what's happened since it's now they've taken the draft on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also, they do Friday in prime time as well, rounds 2 and 3. So they went from 1 day to 3. Stupid. Never going to work. Dragging it out. All right. We got some big games here. All right. Give me some picks. I mean, Lightning even it up tonight.
Oh, boy.
I picked Leafs in 6. I had to stick with it even after the game 1 shellacking.
And I picked the Lightning in 7. We both thought it was going to be 1-1, 2-2. So I'm taking the Lightning. They played a great game 3. They just didn't win it. I anticipate the Lightning sticking with a similar performance and getting out of Dodge with a victory tonight and even the series up at 2.
I'm there as well. Lightning 2 bad days in a row with the power play. Also, Vasilevsky getting outplayed in net hasn't happened very often in the last 3+ years. I think he responds tonight. No word on Cernak if or when he's coming back. I mean, that's another reason if you're the Lightning, just keep drawing this series out. Not only is there more and more pressure on the Leafs the further this goes along, but hell, you may get the 2 guys who got hurt in game 2 back as well. Or game 1, sorry. So Hedman came back, looked really good. Game 3. Didn't score, but boy, it was creating a lot of chances. You know who needs to step it up a little bit? Kucherov. He had a lot of great scoring opportunity. He was set up a lot in that last game. All right. He's got to put the biscuit in the basket. I'm just saying.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's where you talk about their power play. He's the guy that's going to have to make the power play goal. They've got to get dividends. The best players for Toronto are on the score sheet. Tampa has to be right there with them tonight.
And when will home teams start winning in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Road teams have won 8 straight games. They won 4 Saturday, 4 Sunday. Road teams are 17-11 right now in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
3 of the 4 road teams tonight are favored to win. Only the Rangers at home are expected to win, according to Las Vegas. Now, both the Vegas-Winnipeg line and the Tampa-Toronto line are very tight. Colorado, a pretty big favorite as well, on the road in Seattle tonight.
I will say, much like Edmonton last night, down 3-0 after 1, found themselves, ended up winning in overtime. Colorado was not only lost game 1, they were down 2-0 after the first period of game 2. I mean, there were some boos when they were leaving the ice, defending Stanley Cup champions. And they found themselves midway through period 2 of game 2. They have not really looked back. You're wondering if Seattle has got anything for them. If Colorado has found their game, does Seattle have anything for that?
No.
And Seattle, at least in the first 2 games in Colorado, got really good goaltending from Grubauer also. I mean, couldn't do much better than he did. He lost game 2 late, but he made 38, 39 saves. I mean, he was really good.
I was not going to be surprised if this series was a sweep. I was stunned Seattle won game 1 and then to have the lead in game 2. But I think, as you pointed out, Colorado found themselves. Their power play got going a little bit better in the last game. So I don't see Colorado having a problem.
Can the Heat go up 3-1? This would be monster. I don't even care about it. I don't want to hear it about Giannis being hurt. Okay? I know, seriously. I mean, we've seen it in the NBA. Teams can win. They can win a game without their best player. Lose a series without your best player? Yes. But come on now. You take Giannis off the Bucks. That roster's pretty similar to the Miami Heat. They got beat by 22 in game 3. 22.
Here's the question. It sounds silly, but because the Heat who struggled scoring during the year, can the Bucks step up their defensive game? That's really the question you got to ask yourselves right now, because and you pointed it out before the series started, David, but defensively they've been bad against the Heat in every game.
Miami has shot 60, 54, and 54% in the first 3 games. They're shooting 50% from beyond the arc. They're averaging 124 points a game, and it's not an altered statistic. It's not like they scored 140 in one game. No, they've scored 120 or more points in all 3 games. 130, 122, 121. That's what the Heat have scored in their 3 games. The Heat, bottom 5 team offensively in the league this year. With basically no Tyler Hero because he got hurt late second quarter of game 1. And now a guy they were turning to help replace him, Oladipo, he just blew out his knee. He's done. I mean, it's Jimmy Butler and a little bit of Bam, and then it's a bunch of role players.
Duncan Robinson going 5 of 6 from beyond the arc in the last game.
Well,
did he do that all year?
I don't know if he did it once all year.
That's what I mean.
No. So now you would think, Milwaukee's actually been here before. Remember when they won it, they were down 2-0 in the finals to Phoenix. Last year they had to must-win games in Boston even to force that series to go 7. I mean, when they beat the Nets 2 years ago, they did a game 7 on the road. I mean, Milwaukee's been there, done that. Have not had a monster game yet from Jrue Holiday. That's what I'm waiting for Milwaukee.
I think Giannis plays tonight. I think the Bucks win. I think they tough one out on the road.
I do too. Now, the NBA does not reseed. So the Heat Bucks winner plays the Knicks Cavs winner. So the irony here, if the Heat can do this, first off, they may get a playoff series with the Knicks, which would excite especially the Miami fan base, how much they hate the Knicks. But also, that's a winnable series, even with your injuries. I mean, it's not like they reseed and you get Boston. No. You let the Celtics and the Sixers duke it out on the other side. By the way, Embiid may not be ready to go for the start of that. He missed game 4, in which they swept the Nets, and Doc Rivers was hoping that the series wouldn't start till like this coming weekend, and it's possible game 1 could be Friday. And Doc Rivers said it's no better than 50-50 that Embiid's ready to go. And he thinks he'll be no better than 50 or 60% at the start of the series.
This sport is all about who plays now. I mean, it was one thing for load management during the regular season, and I'm not questioning injuries. The guys are obviously injured if they're not playing. I get it. But with, Kawhi having to sit out a game, now Embiid sitting out, it is just amazing. in these playoffs that we're talking about who's not playing as much as we are who's playing.
And we talked about this before the playoffs started, but we thought, there'd be some injuries and, could they handle the rigors of the playoffs after basically missing 20+% of their regular season games? But Mark, the league's never been less physical. How come everybody's still getting hurt?
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Felipe.
What's up?
How many of the memes did you send out today?
2 so far.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? If you send out a meme, and my guess is you send them out on the Florida Sports Network, if it doesn't have my name or Mark's name in it, could you then send it to me separately? Because we need to, nobody's following the Florida Sports Network, but a couple thousand people follow Mark and follow me. Okay. We need to be tweeting them out.
That's kind of, I guess I could just retweet them from the Florida Sports Network account.
No. Send them from the Florida Sports Network account. You just got to put at Mark Miller, at David Moulton on there, because if not, we don't see them.
Right. And if I don't see,
And if I don't see it, I'm not going to retweet it. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like I'm fine if you send it out on Florida Sport. Like if you do it and then at Miller, at Moulton are not on it. Okay, whatever. But then get it to us.
I'll just make sure to tag you both in every single one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you see the tweet Clay Travis just sent out?
I did not.
The ESPN exec who counted the number of times I said boobs on the radio and demanded that I be fired for saying I believe in the First Amendment and boobs was just fired by ESPN. Yes, I keep receipts. Maybe the Biden 2024 campaign has a job for you, Mike.
Wow.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Sampson on the show tomorrow. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Former Bucks general manager Mark Dominic on the show tomorrow. JP Shadrick will join us along with Seth Everett on Wednesday. I think it's Dalton Miller from Pro Football Network, along with Roy Cummings, the Bucks with the 19th pick in the draft, the earliest pick of any of the Florida teams on draft day Thursday. And then we'll recap the draft in a big way and also catch up and see where all these NBA and NHL playoff series are on Friday. So another big week, final week of April. Sports world is a humming.
It really is. Playoffs going full tilt. Draft Thursday, very excited. Shows will coincide accordingly.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Starting 1901, David. The first baseball game in the American League. The Chicago White Stockings take down the Cleveland Blues 8-2.
Man, White Stockings and Blues. I just turned stockings into socks.
And the Blues, well,
they play hockey.
1908. Jacob Murdoch, his wife, and their children depart Los Angeles in a Packard 30, becoming the first family to travel across the U.S. by car. They would arrive in New York City. Care to take a guess at how many days later, David? 1908.
11.
32 days, 5 hours, 25 minutes later.
I don't know. It sounds like there were some stops involved.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? The Woolworth Building was opened in New York City today in 1913. At the time, it was the tallest building in the world. 1945, Miles Davis makes his recording debut with the Herbie Fields Orchestra. In 53, Winston Churchill was knighted by Queen Elizabeth.
I got to admit, after the whole World War II thing, what the hell took you guys so long? It's been 8 years.
But it does kind of make you wonder how people like Elton John can be knighted when Winston. There's a wide-ranging area of knight.
There's no doubt, David Beckham, Winston Churchill.
Right. That's all. That's
Right.
all.
Right.
Today in 63, Bob Cousy plays in his last game for Boston as the Celtics beat the Lakers in Game 6 for their 5th straight NBA championship. Today in 74, the NFL granted a franchise to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Today in 76, Lorne Michaels goes on camera on Saturday Night Live to offer the Beatles $3,000 to reunite on the show. Paul McCartney and John Lennon were watching from John Lennon's New York apartment and damn near came to the set.
That's it? I thought it was a lot more.
No. Union wage. Union scale, $3,000.
They were
That's when Harrison
famously
came on and wanted the $1,000. He wanted his part. He wanted to share. Today in 88, Andre Bruce was the first pick of the draft by the Atlanta Falcons.
Some picks don't work out.
Today in 94, David Robinson goes for 71 against the Clippers to win the scoring title.
Well, wasn't it because David Thompson had gone for a bunch and I thought Robinson knew how many points he needed, and it was damn near 60 that he needed.
And he went for 71.
Right.
94, Dan Wilkinson, the first pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. And in 2004, Eli was the first pick by
the San Diego Chargers.
Barbara Streisand's 81 today. Jack Blades from Night Ranger and Vince Ferragamo are each 69. David's favorite Brave, Chipper Jones, is 51.
Actually, I love Chipper. Absolutely love him.
I know you do.
Well, but most people know
David's favorite Brave.
But most people know me as a Mets fan, and I think they thought you were being sarcastic because he crushed the Mets. There were certain guys who destroyed my favorite teams over the years, and I still loved them. Stargell, Schmidt, Chipper Jones. I don't know what to tell you. Just love Michael Jordan destroying the Knicks. I love them.
Just not Potvin.
No, Dennis Potvin sucks. Still to this day. Correct.
Kelly Clarkson's 41 and Lydia Ko is 26 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, a few little things. All right. First off, so today in 45, they briefed Truman on the Manhattan Project. So think about this. He's been vice president for a little while. FDR dies 2 weeks ago. The president of the United States has no idea. FDR kept it from him. He has no idea about this little side venture we're working on. Imagine that meeting, by the way. Yeah, we have to go in and tell the president about the atomic bombs. He doesn't know? No. FDR
doesn't have a clue.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I love it. It's a hell of a briefing, by the way. Presidents have been briefed about a lot of things. Don't know if they've been briefed about bigger, to be honest. Also, today in 80, for those of us of a certain age, today was the day Jimmy Carter lost the presidency. He tried to rescue the hostages. And the helicopters collided and soldiers died. And it was an absolute embarrassment. This was the day, forget the 16% inflation and the whole, whatever. Okay. The Republicans didn't know who they were nominating and what have you. But this was the day when he lost. It was pretty much like, well, whoever they nominate is going to win. We got to get rid of this guy. He can't even rescue our hostages. And if you're into, certain outfits, Jane Fonda released her first workout video today in 82.
That was such a big deal.
Oh my goodness. Monster. For those of us of a certain age, we know. Okay. You make as much fun as you want. And in hindsight, it looks ridiculous. We agree.
But if you don't remember, your mom owned a video. Just saying.
Yep. And she owned at least 2 of the outfits and the high socks.
You guys got yoga pants. We got high socks. Terrible trade. Terrible trade.
Awful.
I've got today in 2020, the Dolphins selected Tua Tagovailoa with the 5th overall pick. How's it looking now? Well,
we'll see.
That's for you.
Right.
Do you remember that Damian Lillard step back game winner from damn near half court against the Thunder in 2019? No? Crickets? Okay.
I guess it was today.
In 2019. That was one of the game winners I've ever seen in my entire life because it was a step back from half court with a defender in his face. And it ended the Thunder season that year.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I don't know where to go about the Damian Lillard thing. I got to be honest with you. That's how much of an NBA geek he is, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought that somehow, some way, some of it had oozed out of him, he's got a serious girlfriend. He's vacationed a couple times in the last few months. No. That's still what lies within Felipe right there.
If you know, you know.
Also, everybody needs to be honest. So it was 3 years ago today, the Dolphins drafted Tua. Be honest. 3 years ago, how many of you were going, no, I wanted Herbert. No, what are you doing? Be honest.
I was.
Okay, fair enough. Word is behind the scenes, Marino wanted Herbert. You can see why, but I'm just saying, be honest. Because remember, what were they doing for a year, Mark? They were tanking
for Tua.
Right, not for Herbert.
No,
they were tanking for Tua. So just be honest with yourself.
For the good today, we go to Indianapolis, where Katrina Mullen is a nurse. She cared for a 14-year-old teen mom of premature triplets named Sierra Small. She feared that the 3 babies would all be sent into foster care based on Small's economic and family situation. So she acted. She adopted all of them.
Oh, wow.
The mom and the 3 kids to keep them from going to foster care. They're saying you're going to act on things. Then there's acting on things. That's what this nurse did. Amazing. For the bad, well, we come back to Florida in Pinellas County, where the father of a 9-year-old child was arrested Thursday after the child found meth in his backpack. The child handed their teacher 2 clear plastic baggies with a crystal-like substance inside and telling them, Daddy put the baggies in their backpack.
I was going to say, man, I hate where I forget where I put my meth.
49-year-old Joseph Dombrowski was interviewed by detectives who claimed he was unsure how the 2 bags of meth got into the child's backpack.
Don't think you have to be a grade 1 detective to be able to figure it out. I really don't, but that's me.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Brooklyn, where a New York City woman convicted of trying to kill a friend was sentenced to 21 years in prison. She did so by poisoning a cheesecake.
What?
Apparently, the 2 looked alike, and the Russian Victoria Nazarov was convicted of attempted murder and other counts. She was trying to assume the woman's identity. She was going to kill her and take over her identity, and she was going to do so by poisoning a cheesecake. No word on what flavor the cheesecake was, David.
I got to admit, I've never thought about killing someone, but if by chance I ever got to that point, it would probably be a long time until I thought about, well, we could always poison a cheesecake.
It wouldn't really make the top 100 list.
I don't even think it'd make the top 3 or 500 either.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 24th, 2023.
2 NBA playoff games tonight. They're both on TNT, 7:30 and 10. Heat hosting the Bucks. Milwaukee a 6-point favorite. Lakers hosting the Grizzlies. Lakers a 4.5-point favorite. I got a funny feeling Memphis wins tonight, by the way. I picked the Lakers to win the series. I got a funny feeling Memphis wins tonight. Just saying.
Well, it's their season on the line is all.
Hockey, 4 playoff games. The Lightning are on TBS. The doubleheader on TBS is the Lightning at 7:30 and Colorado and the Kraken at 10. The ESPN double dip at 7 and 9:30, Devils, Rangers, Golden Knights, Jets. I do think the Rangers win game 4 and go up 3-1. And I think Colorado does as well. I think the other 2 series, the home teams win tonight, and we're 2-2.
2 early games, the home team wins. 2 late game, the road team wins. Vegas goes up 3-1 on Winnipeg tonight.
Apparently some people in Tampa Bay area are not only paying attention to the Rays, they've actually gone to their last few games. 64,000 in the 3-game series against the White Sox. Rays unbeaten at home, taking on the World Series champions, I should say, Astros, who are playing their best ball of the year. They took 2 or 3 from the Jays and swept Atlanta. Astros Rays 6:40 tonight. Rays 13-0 at home. Marlins in Atlanta to face the Braves. The Braves are minus 278. Wow. Wow. I got to take Edward Cabrera and the Marlins tonight. That's a big number for Spencer Strider. Oh, he's got some filthy stuff, but come on now. Although Braves have lost 4 in a row, I think Vegas is like, yeah, it ain't getting a 5.
No, I think that's exactly what they're thinking. And Taj Bradley throwing for the Rays, looking to go 3-0 on his rookie campaign today as they take on the Astros in that one.
So terrific sports night. And just in this state alone, you got the Heat, you got the Lightning, and you got the Rays and the Astros. And we have a great show lined up for you tomorrow. So have a great rest of your day. Miller and Moulton. We'll see you tomorrow.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for